Chapter 313. Lang Ping and Xueqi were both in the late stage of the prominent divine realm. Moreover, the two of them didn't seem to have placed their hopes on the divine might of the Saint Physique and relied on the Saint Physique to determine victory. Instead, they went straight for the celestial techniques and secret treasures. As soon as the battle began, the first thing the two did was not to charge at each other and gain the upper hand. Instead, they both retreated and took out their own secret treasures. Lang Ping's secret treasure rolled up a black wind that covered the sky and the sun. Those who were hit by the black wind felt dizzy. Its power was somewhat similar to Wu Sui's soul dispersing divine wind, but its effect was obviously weaker. Its interference ability was better than actual combat. On the other hand, Xueqi took out his Dharma treasure and made an icy rainfall within a few hundred meters. The icy rain was bone-chilling, and those who were hit by were frozen to the bone. Lang Ping had no choice but to take out his true essence to defend himself. Xinghui found it inconceivable to see such a fierce battle. After a while, he said to Wang Ke, "Why don't Lang Ping and Xueqi take out their Saint Physique and fight with all their might? Why do they need to use their Dharma treasures and immortal techniques to fight? This kind of battle method might have a miraculous effect if they're caught off guard. But isn't it more enjoyable to fight using their battle physique?" Saint Physique? Wang Ke was slightly startled. If they directly take out their Saint Physique, what if they can't win this battle in a short time? Won't they be severely exhausted? How will they deal with the rest of the battle? Aren't there 50 rounds? After 50 rounds, it will take at least half a day. Even if they're exhausted, as long as they don't completely exhaust their true qi, they will be able to recover. Once they take out their Saint Physique, how much true qi will they have left after the battle? Wang Ke couldn't help but laugh. After hearing Wang Ke's words, Xinghui remembered that he was overthinking. The reason why the prominent divine stage Grand Elders didn't use their Saint Physique so easily was that it was difficult to recover. Xinghui had the rank 6 recovery ability. Once his true qi was completely exhausted, he would need 2 to 3 days to recover to his peak state. Even if he took out his Saint Physique and fought for 5 to 6 breaths, he would need half a day to recover completely, let alone those who weren't Sons of Chaos who had 0 recovery ability. In the field, the battle between the two continued. Lang Ping and Xueqi exchanged blows back and forth. Their immortal arts and magic treasures displayed their prowess. But in the end, Xueqi was still slightly superior. After being hit by the bone-piercing icy rain, Lang Ping's movements became more and more sluggish, and his body trembled incessantly. After this battle lasted for almost an hour, Lang Ping suddenly. He admitted defeat. Not bad. It wasn't a battle of life and death, but he admitted defeat. Looking at Lang Ping, who bowed to Xueqi and left the platform, Xinghui turned to Lang Ping in shock. He didn't even try his best, and he admitted defeat just like that. Victory and defeat have been decided. Xueqi is 1 step ahead. Lang Ping is unwilling to let this go and embarrass himself, so he should admit defeat. Wang Ke looked as if it was only natural. He lost this battle. How will he face the Hunyuan sect? Elder Dongyang, what do you mean? What does losing have to do with facing the Hunyuan sect? Wang Ke was slightly taken aback. Then, as if he had thought of something, he hurriedly said, although he lost the battle, he can enter the losers group and continue to fight his way to victory. After all, although the losers group only has 3 spots, at least he won't have to face the 6 Supreme Sect seeded contestants. Instead of wasting his vitality by losing to the 6 Supreme Sect seeded contestants, he might as well conserve his strength and stand out in the losers group. His method is also a tactic to preserve his vitality. In the past, there were many sects with lower chances of winning the losers group that used this tactic. Xinghui opened his mouth, but what else could he say? The atmosphere of the Fortune mainland was a little too harmonious. It was indeed worthy of being a peaceful world that had not experienced any war for 3,000 years. People with a strong desire to win like Ling, she were as rare as phoenix feathers and Shielan horns. The battles continued, and the prodigies that represented their respective sects and clans continued to fight on the arena one after another. If these prodigies believed that they were inferior to someone else, they would often admit defeat willingly. Even if their strength was similar, they actually never fought to the death. Qing Su had watched 18 battles along the way, and there were actually only 8 battles where both sides had used the power of the saint's body. Of course, there were also 4 battles where both sides went all out, and in the end, both sides suffered heavy losses. But compared to the total 18 battles, this number was less than a quarter. If such a thing happened in the Eastern Wilderness, it was almost unimaginable. There would definitely be people who would secretly take action long ago. They would use all kinds of methods to harm their competitors and wear down their opponent's fighting spirit. They would use all kinds of sinister tricks. Compared to the Heaven Wasteland world, the people of the Fortune mainland were simply modest gentlemen. At this moment, Tsing Hui even faintly understood why he could easily gain the trust of the Purple Firmament Palace and Burning Sky sect. His talent was one thing, and the contribution of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique was another. Most importantly, the general atmosphere of the Fortune mainland was like this. Everyone cared about their reputation, and the atmosphere of scheming was far from being comparable to the Heaven Wasteland world and Eastern Wasteland world. Buzz, buzz. Just as Tsing Hui did not know whether to praise or belittle the general atmosphere of the Fortune mainland, the token in his hand vibrated slightly. Not long after, a figure landed in the center of the stage. Chihuang Sex Miao Daozi. I wonder which fellow Taoist would like to exchange pointers with me. Tsing Hui immediately stood up. Wang Ke hurriedly said, "This Miao Daozi is a person who specializes in entanglement. His immortal technique is called Spring Wind Rain, and it is most proficient in healing injuries and restoring true essence. Elder Dongyang must not fall into a state of anxiety when fighting with him. It is best to end the battle quickly and secure victory." Tsing Hui nodded. This was also his idea. "Burning Sky Sex Dongyang, please." Tsing Hui gestured to Miao Daozi in front of him with his hand. "Since the two of you are ready, then I will announce the start of the battle." The Transcendent Realm expert in charge of the referee immediately appeared and announced. The moment this Transcendent Realm expert gave the order, Tsing Hui's aura suddenly erupted. In an instant, a terrifying and vast, blazing pressure swept through the void. The phantom of a divine beast suddenly appeared behind Tsing Hui, stirring up boundless power. Almost everyone's expression changed drastically. Then, before Miao Daozi could react, and before the crowd could see clearly what kind of saint physique Tsing Hui had manifested, Miao Daozi was sent flying while vomiting blood. Like a meteor, Miao Daozi crashed into the ground and fainted. Swoosh! His aura was restrained. The powerful pressure that filled the entire fighting ring with a radius of more than 10 kilometers was quickly restrained by Tsing Hui's genuine qi. Tsing Hui once again returned to his calm appearance when he stepped onto the platform. He slightly cupped his hands to the unconscious Miao Daozi and said, "Thank you for letting me win." After that, his figure flashed, and he returned to the Burning Sky sect. Such a straightforward battle stunned the Transcendent Realm expert in charge of the referee. It took him a while to react and announce Tsing Hui's victory. Following his announcement, there was an uproar in the crowd. "What's going on?" "Just now, I seem to have felt a terrifying aura from Brother Dongyang of the Burning Sky sect. The aura was so strong that it made me tremble with fear." Humph! Before Brother Miao Daozi was ready, he suddenly attacked. It was like a sneak attack. He's really inhumane. Brother Dongyang's sudden sneak attack was indeed a bit overboard, but he did it after the referee announced the start of the match, so it's not against the rules. We have to be more careful when we face him in the future. Moreover, Brother Miao Daozi is good at entangling and delaying. Brother Dongyang took advantage of Brother Miao Daozi's immortal technique to use all his strength to win the match. His method is not glorious, but his tactical thinking is undoubtedly correct. All kinds of discussions were constantly heard in the crowd. There were people who felt that Qing Su's battle tactics were impressive, while there were people who felt that Qing Su was lacking in manners, or that he was a despicable ambusher. As for the powerful aura that Qing Su had displayed when he manifested the Golden Crow battle form earlier, no one paid any more attention to it very soon. Although these people did not pay attention to it, the Transcendent Realm experts, and even the never-ending realm experts of the Six Supreme sects were looking at Tsing Hui curiously. Interesting. It seems that the Burning Sky sect has produced an extraordinary talent this time. What Burning Sky sect? I think it's the Purple Cloud Palace. Dongyang is most likely a genius disciple that the Purple Cloud Palace has been secretly cultivating. They just used the Burning Sky sect to push him out. Just wait and see. The Purple Cloud Palace will definitely take him in after the Fortune Creation Grand Banquet. The power of Dongyang's battle constitution isn't simple. Although he immediately withdrew his divine body, I'm afraid that it's not a divine-grade battle constitution, but a divine-grade Golden Crow battle constitution. An ancestral patriarch of the Taishu sect said as he looked at the Great Sun Divine Palace. The palace master of the Great Sun Divine Palace, Xingji, looked at Tsing Hui and nodded slightly. Such a good seedling who has cultivated the Golden Crow divine body shouldn't be wasted in the Purple Cloud Palace. Brother Xiangjun, why don't you give him to the Great Sun Divine Palace? Xiangjun was a grand elder sent by the Purple Cloud Palace headquarters on the Sky Pillar Mountain. He was a peak never-ending realm expert. When he heard Xingji, the palace master of the Great Sun Divine Palace, he laughed and said, I don't know what the palace master is talking about. Dongyang is a member of the Burning Sky sect. How can he be related to the Purple Cloud Palace? Apparently, he was trying to smooth things over. Xingji smiled and did not take it seriously. If he had cultivated such an excellent genius disciple, he would not have let others poach him so easily. What a pity! He was a good seedling who cultivated the Golden Crow bloodline. The battles continued. The first round took more than half a day to end. Half of the 100 sects were eliminated, leaving only 50. As the first round came to an end, the second round began. Moreover, in the third round, Qing Su's medallion had already begun to vibrate again. Clearly, it was his turn. As he stood up, a figure whizzed over from the direction of the Purple Cloud Palace like a stream of light. The aura of a true energy realm expert emanated from his body without reservation. I am Gaochen from the Purple Cloud Palace. Greetings, everyone. I wonder which of you would like to fight me? Chapter 314. The Purple Cloud Palace. He's going up against a genius disciple of the Purple Cloud Palace in the second round? Wang Kei's gaze landed on Tsing Hui with a hint of worry in his eyes. Dongyang, just admit defeat when the time comes. Even if you lose, you can still get into the top 10 of the losers bracket. Admit defeat. Tsing Hui frowned. I want to know if the top 10 winners of the losers bracket can compete for the top 3. Top 3. Wang Kei was slightly taken aback. Elder Dongyang wants to compete for the top 3? That's impossible. The top 3 can only be decided from Tonghua, Boundless Dao, and Nantian Do. Whether it's immortal arts or secret treasures, they're all much stronger than ordinary experts. Even the peerless geniuses cultivated by the Purple Cloud Palace, the Primeval Sect, and the Heavenly Court can't beat them unless a miracle happens. You just need to answer my question. Sure, anyone in the top 10 is qualified to compete for the top 3. I understand, Tsing Hui said, and leaped onto the platform. Seeing Tsing Hui, Gaochen, who represented the Purple Cloud Palace, was slightly taken aback. He then chuckled with a faint arrogance on his face. I know you, Dongyang. You originally wanted to join the Purple Cloud Palace and use our name to participate in the fortune pageant. However, your cultivation was too weak at that time, only at the Blue Netherworld realm. You didn't have the qualifications to participate in the fortune pageant, so you were rejected by the upper echelons of the Purple Cloud Palace. But because you're the son of chaos and contributed an item with 4 Taoist rhymes, Palace Master Xiang Hong of the Central Palace found a compromise for you and allowed you to participate in the fortune pageant under the name of the Burning Sky sect. Am I right? After he finished speaking, The Purple Cloud Palace's genius didn't give Tsing Hui any time to speak. He waved his hand and said, "I'm the true seed of the Purple Cloud Palace. I'm a peerless genius who has cultivated true essence before the age of 80. Even if you've broken through to the prominent divine stage in this year, you're still no match for me. You should just surrender. Otherwise, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson on behalf of the Purple Cloud Palace's headquarters on Tianju Mountain. I'll let you understand the immensity of heaven and earth." Tsing Hui glanced at the arrogant genius of the Purple Cloud Palace, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. However, he seemed to have thought of something after a while. He snorted and said, "Then I'll wish you, the peerless genius of the Purple Cloud Palace, a complete victory. You'll be ranked first in this fortune pageant." After he finished speaking, he said to the transformative realm arbitrator, "I surrender." As expected of an unorthodox person who tried to curry favor with our Purple Cloud Palace halfway through. You have no respect for your elders. Gauchen seemed to have heard the dissatisfaction in Tsing Hui's words. He immediately waved his sleeve, snorted, and turned to leave. "I want to be ranked first. We'll have a chance to compete. I hope you won't lose too quickly." Tsing Hui looked at Gauchen gloomily as he turned to leave. There was a hint of anger in his heart. Whoosh! In a flash, Tsing Hui landed in the Finchen sex camp. Wang Ke saw the dissatisfaction on Tsing Hui's face and hurriedly comforted him. "Elder Dongyang, we don't have to lower ourselves to the same level as these disciples from Tianju Mountain. These disciples spend most of their time cultivating in Tianju Mountain and don't know the ways of the world. Plus, many elders have placed high hopes on them and doted on them. Over time, they've developed this arrogant attitude. After today's fortune pageant, they'll understand that there's always someone better out there." Tsing Hui glanced at Wang Ke and nodded, but didn't say anything. The competition continued. 25 out of 50, 13 out of 25, and 7 out of 13. It took a total of 2 days. On the third day, it was time for the 43 people in the losers group to challenge each other. Before the battles of the losers bracket began, the Purple Cloud Palace did not say anything. Clearly, they believed that the situation was within their control. As for the possibility of Qing Su becoming displeased with the matter of the Gauchen, they seemed to have completely ignored it. After all, in their opinion, it wasn't a big deal for Tsing Hui, who was in the prominent divine stage, to surrender to Gauchen, who was in the true energy stage. Compared to the winners group, although there were many powerhouses in the losers group who were unlucky enough to encounter the 6-seeded contestants and were defeated, overall, they were still weaker. 43 into 22, and 22 into 11. Tsing Hui defeated his opponents without a hitch. After personally witnessing the strange immortal techniques, in order to ensure that nothing went wrong, Huang Xiaolong summoned his golden crow physique and defeated his opponents with lightning speed. Even if his opponents were members of the losers group, Huang Xiaolong didn't dare to underestimate them. After all, he knew too little about the Fortune Mainland's immortal techniques. In order to prevent himself from failing miserably and missing out on the Fortune Divine Jade, Huang Xiaolong had no choice but to deal with every battle with the mentality of a lion hunting a rabbit. On the next day, when it was time to advance from 11 to 6, Tsing Hui was lucky enough to get a bye. Relying on this opportunity, he directly entered the top 6. As long as he won one more battle, he would be able to obtain one of the 3 spots and obtain the qualification to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade. At this moment, even Yin Exine, Chen Shuo, Wang Ke, and the others couldn't help but feel nervous. This is the last battle. Whether or not we can obtain the qualification to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade will depend on this battle. In this battle, the only one who can truly suppress Dongyang is Ling Huyu. As long as he doesn't encounter Ling Huyu, Dongyang's chances of winning are still above 70%. Wang Ke looked at the 6 opponents and said solemnly, "Fortunately, it's Ling Huyu and not Cheng Yi. Although Ling Huyu has the fire Aegis bead, his divine ability is limited to the prominent saint realm. Dongyang, if you feel that you can't defeat your opponent, use the killing move you comprehended in the Heaven Abandoning Valley. It will definitely turn the tide." Burning Sky Sect's old ancestor Chen Shua said seriously. At the end of the day, Qing Su represented their Burning Heaven sect. If they could win the fortune banquet in the name of the Burning Heaven sect, the reputation of the Burning Heaven sect would definitely skyrocket. At that time, they would be able to gain a firm foothold among the first-rate sects and even develop into a powerful first-rate sect. Don't worry, I know what to do, Xing Hui said. He had to win this round, even if he had to use the divine art at the crucial moment. As the battle began, two figures stepped onto the platform. Seeing one of them, Wang Ke, Yin Xian, and Chen Shua were overjoyed. It's Ling Huyu. Ling Huyu is on the stage. Dong Yang doesn't have to fight with Ling Huyu anymore. Great. Xing Hui's expression didn't change as he looked at the remaining three people. Any one of them could be his next opponent. However, he was slightly startled when he saw a man among the three who was glaring at him with anger. Qi Huang's sex Miao Daozi? He didn't expect the Qi Huang sex expert, who lost to him in the first round, to be able to stand out among the 43 people in the loser group. Ling Huyu's battle lasted for less than half an hour before it ended. As the referee of the place of the outer fringe announced the start of the second round, Xing Hui's participant token suddenly vibrated. At the same time, Xing Hui's participant token vibrated, Miao Daozi took out his own token and looked at Xing Hui. Qing Su smiled when he saw this. He directly landed on the platform and said to Miao Daozi, who had also leapt over, "What a coincidence. 4 days ago, I was caught off guard and was defeated by your sneak attack. I wasted so many days in the loser group. Today, I'll show you my true strength," Miao Daozi said angrily. Caught off guard? Now are you ready? Xing Hui said with a smile. Spring wind and rain. As soon as the transcendent expert announced the start of the battle, Miao Daozi immediately retreated and performed the immortal art he had mastered. With the spring wind and rain blessing him, not only did it give him a decent defense, it also gave him an extremely strong recovery ability. Unfortunately, it was useless. Rumble. Behind Qing Su, it was like a scorching sun had suddenly erupted. Endless light and heat filled the entire platform in a single moment, so bright that the experts at the Spirit Uniting Realm and Green Netherworld Realm basically struggled to open their eyes. Within the endless light, a strand of great yang, true fire blazed out, causing space to distort and the ground to turn into glass. It directly landed on Miao Daozi. Miao Daozi had only just pulled out a Class 6 armor after using spring wind and rain, but it was directly incinerated by the Grand Sun True Fire. The scorching Grand Sun True Fire continued to burn Miao Daozi's body without slowing down at all, immediately making him cry out in pain. His aura rapidly melted away like snow under the scorching sun. Not good. At this critical moment, the 4 adjudicators reacted extremely quickly, charging onto the battlefield to save Miao Daozi from the fate of being burned to ash. At the same time, they used their own methods to try and remove the Grand Sun True Flame. However, under their true essence and methods, although the true sun fire was stopped, it was still burning fiercely and could not be extinguished in a short time. Thuish. Xing Hui stretched out a hand, drawing out the Grand Sun True Flame and sending it into the Golden Crow behind him. As the Golden Crow vanished into Xing Hui's body, the blinding light that had illuminated the platform rapidly faded away. Can we announce the victor now? That's the Grand Sun True Flame, right? It is indeed extremely overbearing. Although there are people in our Great Sun Divine Palace who have also cultivated the Great Sun Primordial Fire, but compared to your Great Sun Primordial Fire, it is still inferior by a notch. After personally experiencing the power of the Grand Sun True Flame, the Transcendent Realm expert in charge of the adjudicators looked at Xing Hui with a slightly different gaze. Just now, when they had attacked with all their strength, they had only been able to suppress the light of the Grand Sun True Flame and had not been able to remove it from Miao Daozi's body. This scene made them understand that this man in his Golden Crow battle form could threaten their lives. It's just a small trick, not worth mentioning. We can conclude that Miao Daozi is unable to withstand the burning of the Grand Sun True Flame. Therefore, you have won this round. Congratulations, you have earned the right to comprehend the fortune divine jade. Our palace master, Xingji, would like to invite Brother Dongyang to a gathering at Dongyang Palace tonight. What do you think, Brother Dongyang? The Transcendent Realm expert said without hesitation. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Dongyang. Third, update again. Chapter 315. The Palace Master of the Great Sun Divine Palace wants to see me. Sing Hui's heart skipped a beat as he vaguely guessed something. Whether it was the Burning Sky sect or the Purple Cloud Palace, he didn't have much of a sense of belonging. As a son of chaos, he would be warmly welcomed if he joined any first-rate sect. After all, there were quite a number of sects qualified to participate in the Fortune Mainland's Grand Banquet, and the Son of Chaos was the only one lacking. As for the 10 Dao rhymes required for the Fortune Mainland's Grand Banquet, he had provided 4 of them. There was also the Purple Cloud Palace's supreme immortal techniques, the magic arsenal, the reversal of yin and yang, and the earth-shaking staff. The Great Sun Golden Crow technique from the Eastern Wilderness Golden Crow sect might not be any weaker than these. He didn't know the Purple Cloud Palace anything. Perhaps the Great Sun Golden Crow incantation that he had contributed to the Purple Cloud Palace could still be used to exchange for a few powerful supreme immortal techniques. Since the Starlight Palace Master has personally invited me, I will respectfully accept. Qing Su replied with a voice transmission. Good. I will inform the Palace Master. Tonight, the East Flame Hall will await Your Excellency Dong Yang's arrival. A faint smile appeared on the Transcendent Realm expert's face. Sing Hui nodded slightly and returned to the Burning Sky sect's camp. As soon as he landed inside the Burning Sky sect, everyone from the Burning Sky sect gathered around him, their faces filled with joy. Good, very good. Elder Dongyang, I didn't expect you to make it into the top 10 of the Fortune pageant and obtain the qualification to comprehend the Fortune Jade. Our Burning Sky sect actually produced a disciple who obtained the qualification to comprehend the Fortune Jade. It is really the blessing of our ancestors, From today onwards, our Burning Sky sect will no longer be unknown on the Fortune mainland. Soon, our Burning Sky sect will welcome an opportunity to develop and rise. Everyone gathered around Qing Su. They were overjoyed, and they did not even bother to watch the next battle to determine the final spot. In the afternoon, the top 10 spots were all decided. After the Starlight Palace Master gave a speech, she announced that the final ranking battle would begin tomorrow. Because Tsing Hui was thinking about the private transaction tonight, he immediately headed to the Purple Cloud Palace's courtyard. Just as he stepped out of the Burning Sky sect's courtyard, Wang Ke caught up to him. Elder Dongyang, the Palace Master invites you. Palace Master? It just so happens that I have something to ask the Palace Lord. But what about the private transaction? Haha, with the Palace Master's words, a trading qualification is nothing. Tsing Hui nodded and followed Wang Ke to the courtyard where the Purple Cloud Palace resided. As one of the 6 supreme sects, the courtyard that the Purple Cloud Palace resided in was naturally not something that the Burning Sky sect could compare to. Rather than calling it a courtyard, it would be better to call it a large palace. It would not be a problem to accommodate thousands or tens of thousands of people. When Wang Ke led Tsing Hui to the periphery of the palace, they stopped. At this time, Sage Zaheo walked out and nodded to Wang Quebec. He then led Tsing Hui straight into the palace. Elder Dongyang, this time, in fact, several supreme elders, led by great ancestor Xiang Jun, want to see you. When you meet the supreme elders later, you have to be polite. After all, you have just entered our Purple Cloud Palace and have not made any great contributions. Even if your talent is amazing, you may not be able to directly enter Tianju Mountain to cultivate. It will depend on the attitude of these supreme elders. I understand. Tsing Hui responded and followed Zaheo to a living room. The living room was relatively remote, and there were not many people in the living room. There was a supreme elder of the never-ending realm, Xiang Jun, and 3 supreme elders of the transcendent realm. In addition to these elders, there were also Gao Chen, who was regarded as a seated contestant, and Xiang Hong, the palace lord of the Purple Cloud Palace of the Central Region. Dongyang, you are here. Let me introduce you. This is the elder of the Purple Cloud Palace who is in charge of leading the team this time, great ancestor Xiangjun. These are the supreme elders who are accompanying him, immortal Yunpeng, immortal Kunwu, and immortal Tianze. As for this one, I believe you have already met him. He is the favored one that our Purple Cloud Palace has spent a lot of effort to cultivate, Gaochen. In the future, he is expected to take charge of our Purple Cloud Palace and become our future Palace Lord. Seeing Tsing Hui arrive, Xiang Hong stood up and introduced them to Tsing Hui with a smile. Tsing Hui also bowed slightly to the elders. The elders nodded slightly, but Gaochen looked at Tsing Hui with a scrutinizing gaze. Although he still looked arrogant, at least he was no longer condescending. Obviously, the strength that Tsing Hui had shown while overcoming all difficulties along the way had made Gaochen take him seriously. Dongyang, you are indeed a talent. I heard that you have obtained the inheritance of a son of chaos, and, at the same time, obtained many resources and cultivation methods that he left behind. No wonder you can condense a divine gray battle body. Xiangjun looked at Tsing Hui and praised him with satisfaction. I still have to thank the Palace Lord for allowing me to cultivate in the Finchen sect. If it weren't for the 6 blazing, mysterious fire formation of the Finchen sect, even if I could condense a divine Great Golden Crow battle body, I might not have been able to make it in time for this creation grand pageant. Tsing Hui slightly raised his status in the Finchen sect. After all, it was true that he had used the 6 blazing, mysterious fire formation of the Finchen sect to cultivate. When he stole the creation's sacred jade and left, he would inevitably bring some trouble to the Finchen sect. If the Purple Cloud Palace could protect the Finchen sect, he could ensure that the Finchen sect would be safe. Haha, the Burning Sky sect is also a member of the Purple Cloud Palace. It's an affiliated sect of the Purple Cloud Palace. As the favored one of the Purple Cloud Palace, it's reasonable for us to help you condense a divine-grade battle body. Xiangjun smiled. After a few polite words, he gradually got to the point. Dongyang, you have made it to the top 10 this time, and are qualified to comprehend the creation sacred jade. However, there is one thing that you don't know. In fact, although the creation sacred jade has the ability to comprehend supreme celestial techniques, its real function is to assist others so that they can quickly master and cultivate supreme celestial techniques. If it is only used to comprehend supreme celestial techniques, it will be a waste of God's gift. Tsing Hui looked at Xiangjun without batting an eyelid. Then, Supreme Elder, what do you mean? Since you already understand that the main function of the Fortune Jade is to help people master immortal techniques as quickly as possible, I'll be frank with you. I heard from Xiang Hong that although you learned 2 supreme immortal techniques from our Purple Cloud Palace a year ago, these 2 supreme immortal techniques won't be of any help to your battle prowess. Even if you master them, they'll be useless. If you use the precious opportunity of comprehending the Fortune Jade to learn these 2 useless immortal techniques, you'll lose more than you gain. Why don't I make the decision and let you choose 2 more immortal techniques? You can choose whether they're ordinary or supreme immortal techniques. After all, no matter how profound the Fortune Jade is, comprehending 2 immortal techniques in 5 days is the limit. Moreover, it's very likely that these 2 immortal techniques were comprehended by him in the past. Since you've obtained these 2 immortal techniques, you've already obtained what you want. Why don't you give the opportunity to comprehend the Fortune Jade for 5 days to Gaochen? Give the opportunity to comprehend the creation's sacred jade for 5 days to Gaochen. Tsing Hui frowned when he heard Xiangjun's words. That's right. Gaochen is a genius disciple carefully cultivated by our Purple Cloud Palace. In the future, he has a chance to become a Palace Lord of the Purple Cloud Palace. At such a young age, not only has he condensed his vital energy and stepped into the Saint Realm, but he has also comprehended a total of 5 celestial techniques. Even if he has enough time to comprehend the creation's sacred jade, it is not impossible for him to master 1 or 2 of them. Once he masters the celestial techniques, his combat strength will definitely skyrocket. At that time, he will be able to suppress the other geniuses in the palace and will almost immediately be conferred the title of Deputy Palace Lord. He will be groomed as the future palace lord of the Purple Cloud Palace. Because of your help, Gaochen is indebted to you. When you arrive at the Purple Cloud Palace on the Pillar of Heaven's Mountain, Gaochen will naturally take care of you. Who knows? You might even become Gaochen's vassal. There's no need to talk about glory, wealth, and celestial techniques. Even cultivating the golden core and extending your lifespan by 3,000 years is not an extravagant hope. Xiang Jun advised in a sincere and heartfelt manner. To the side, Gaochen nodded slightly and said, Dongyang, your cultivation is not obtained through proper means. If you want the Purple Cloud Palace to nurture you wholeheartedly, you'll still need to observe for a long time. Doing so will only waste the precious cultivation time of your golden years. However, as long as you're willing to give me the opportunity to comprehend the fortune jade, I'll definitely do my best to manage it for you. I'll let the Purple Cloud Palace nurture you as the next genius. When the time comes, let alone 2 supreme celestial arts, even 3, 4, or 5 celestial arts won't be a problem for you. This is a critical opportunity for your life to change. You must seize it. As the supreme elder of the 6 supreme sects, Xiang Jun had always been high and mighty. No one had ever disobeyed his orders. Gaochen's words seemed inappropriate to be used to recruit subordinates. However, in Dongyang's opinion, as someone who was going to compete for the position of Palace Lord of the Purple Cloud Palace in the future, he must have such an imposing manner. Even if he had a favor to ask of others, he must not be submissive to avoid ruining his character. After all, the future Palace Lord of Supreme Sect would not be weaker than anyone in the world. Gaochen is right. Dongyang, this is indeed your opportunity. You must seize it. The other Transcendent Realm experts who had long since joined Gaochen's side echoed. Since they were there, they naturally belonged to the faction that supported Gaochen. Xing Hui sneered in his heart as he looked at the few of them who were acting as if they thought highly of him by offering him an olive branch. They were all high-ranking members of the Purple Cloud Palace, but when it came to dealing with people, these elders of Tianzhu Mountain were far inferior to Palace Lord Xianghong. Just because he said that he would give him 2 celestial techniques and take care of him in the future, he wanted to take away his opportunity to comprehend the creation sacred jade. Had these elders been cultivating at Tianzhu Mountain for so long that their brains had decayed? Did they really think that he was a greenhorn who wanted to gain something without risking anything? Moreover, he would never give up the opportunity to comprehend the creation sacred jade to anyone. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint Elder Xiang Jun and Brother Gaochen. I also want to use the creation sacred jade to comprehend the supreme celestial techniques. Xing Hui said lightly. His words made Xiang Jun's face change color. Gaochen, on the other hand, was taken aback. He could not believe that Xing Hui dared to reject his and Elder Xiang Jun's request. A while later, Gaochen's face immediately sank when he saw how calm Qing Su was, as if he really was unwilling to give up the chance to comprehend the fortune jade. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly earlier. Say it again. Brother Gaochen, it seems like you're a little hard of hearing. Since you didn't hear me clearly, I'll say it again. I don't want to give up the opportunity to comprehend the creation sacred jade. Chapter 3:16. Gaochen stared at Xing Hui with fire in his eyes. How dare you? Xiang Jun snorted and said coldly, Dongyang, you have to think this through. 2 immortal techniques and the friendship of our Purple Cloud Palace's future palace master is definitely not something that a chance to comprehend the fortune divine jade can compare to. You don't know how to grasp the great benefits that are right in front of you. Instead, you want to push it away. Haven't you heard of the old saying, if you don't take it, you'll be punished? I'm sorry. I came from an unorthodox background and haven't read much, so I've never heard of it. Xing Hui said indifferently. How dare you? Do you know what will happen to you if you offend me? Oh, what will happen to you? I am in charge of the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. If anyone wants to comprehend celestial techniques, they have to go through me first. This is especially true for someone like you, who joined the Purple Cloud Palace halfway. The review is even stricter when you want to comprehend celestial techniques or control secret treasures. A small problem can cause you to miss out on your original opportunity to comprehend celestial techniques. Do you want to use the Fortune Jade to comprehend supreme celestial techniques? Or do you want to miss out on the opportunity to cultivate the supreme celestial techniques of the Purple Cloud Palace in the future? Gaochen sneered when he saw that Xing Hui had angered Elder Xiangjun. A puny, prominent divine stage cultivator actually dared to go against their Purple Firmament Palace's never-ending stage Grand Elder. He truly didn't know how to write the word death. After offending the Grand Elder, no matter how talented you were, after being suppressed for a few decades or 100 years, you would still fade into the crowd. Xiang Hong, who was standing at the side, saw that things would come to a deadlock if this continued. He quickly stepped forward to mediate. Dong Yang, you want to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade to obtain more immortal techniques. Elder Xiangjun has already said that he's the elder in charge of the Sutra Depository. If Elder Xiangjun is satisfied, you can cultivate any immortal technique you want in the future. Why give up what's near for what's far away? Isn't that right, Elder? A faint smile appeared on Xiangjun's face. That's right. I've already given you the opportunity. Let's see if you can grasp it. Although he said that, he was already filled with disgust for Xing Hui. He was only waiting to obtain the right to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade for Gaochen. As for whether he would bestow a few celestial techniques to Dong Yang after Gaochen enjoyed the right to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade, it was up to him. Xing Hui ignored Xiangjun and turned to Xiang Hong. Palace Master, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Dong Yang, don't ruin your future because of your youthful vigor. You should consider the elder's suggestion when you go back. Xiang Hong really didn't know how to continue talking to Xing Hui. He was a member of Elder Xiangjun's faction. Naturally, he had to prioritize the interests of his faction. Even though Xing Hui had a bright future ahead of him, and his potential surpassed Gaochen's, Gaochen was someone they had spent a lot of effort to nurture since young. He trusted him. On the other hand, no matter how talented Xing Hui was, it couldn't cover up the fact that he came from an unorthodox background. Why would he risk offending the Grand Elder to promote a talented young man? His boldness hadn't reached that level yet. I understand, Xing Hui said. He didn't even bow to Xiangjun and the others as he turned and left. So what if the Purple Firmament Palace's never-ending realm Grand Elder? He wasn't going to stay on the Fortune mainland. So what if he offended him? Moreover, even if he wanted to survive on the Fortune mainland, he could still join the Great Sun Divine Palace if he couldn't enter the Purple Firmament Palace. Judging from the fact that the Great Sun Divine Palace's Palace Master had personally invited him, it was clear that the Palace Master had high hopes for his future. You don't know how to appreciate favors. When Xiangjun saw Xing Hui turn and leave, the dissatisfaction in his heart was obvious. In the end, he came from an unorthodox background. It's reasonable that he doesn't know how to respect others. I don't think it's wise to accept someone like him into the Purple Firmament Palace. Otherwise, he will bring trouble to the Purple Firmament Palace sooner or later. Gaochen said with a gloomy expression. Xiang Hong couldn't help but sigh in his heart. If Xing Hui was still in the Blue Netherworld realm or had only cultivated a saint-grade battle physique, it would be Dong Yang's loss if the Purple Firmament Palace didn't accept him. But now, Dong Yang had actually cultivated a divine grade battle physique. This was a rare talent that only appeared once in 1,000 years. If the other supreme sects didn't know that he was a member of the Purple Firmament Palace, they would have fought over him. If such a genius was pushed to the other supreme sects, the Purple Firmament Palace would be the one losing out. At this moment, Xiang Hong couldn't help but feel regret. He should have accepted Xing Hui into the Purple Firmament Palace when he had broken through to the prominent divine stage and condensed a divine grade battle physique 10 months ago. Once he had become a member of the Purple Firmament Palace, Xiang Hong had various methods to make him submit if he didn't obey the Elder's orders. But now, it was too late to say anything. After leaving the Purple Firmament Palace's palace, Xing Hui felt a little suffocated. For days ago, he had given the victory that was within his grasp to Gaochen. However, When Gauchen had spoken coldly in front of him, he was already dissatisfied. He didn't expect something like this to happen today. Gauchen and the elder of the Purple Firmament Palace actually wanted him to give up the opportunity to comprehend the fortune divine jade. Did they really think that he was the pride of the Purple Firmament Palace and that the whole world revolved around him? Moreover, after the commotion caused by Gauchen and Xiang Jun, he was too embarrassed to ask Palace Master Xiang Hong for the right to participate in the private trade fair. I only hope that the Star Worship Palace Master of the Great Sun Divine Palace will be easier to talk to and get something that I'm satisfied with. Sing Hui muttered to himself. Seeing that the sky had darkened, he didn't return to the Burning Sky sect. Instead, he turned around and went straight into the Great Sun Divine Palace. Soon, he arrived at the East Flame Palace. When he arrived at the East Flame Palace, a man who was also in the prominent divine stage immediately came out to welcome him. He cupped his hands at Sing Hui and said, "Are you Brother Danyang? The elder is already waiting in the palace. We'll inform the palace master immediately. He'll be here soon. Brother Danyang, please come in first." "Thank you." Sing Hui nodded and followed the man into the East Flame Palace. After walking around the palace for a while, they soon arrived at a guest hall. The arbitrator of the transformative stage, who had secretly sent a message to Tsing Hui earlier, saw Tsing Hui and strode over. He smiled and said, "Elder Danyang, you're finally here. Oh, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Du Sun, the Supreme Elder of the Great Sun Divine Palace's Central Region Main Palace." "Greetings, Elder Du Senior." "Ha, Elder Danyang, you don't have to be so polite. Please take a seat." Du Sun laughed aloud and led Qing Su to a seat. An attendant quickly served up many refreshments and tea. Sing Hui and Elder Du Sun sat for a while. Before they could talk in depth, a series of footsteps came from outside the palace. Then, the palace master of the Great Sun Divine Palace, Xing Ji, who was hosting the Creation Grand Banquet, strode into the palace. "Elder Danyang, sorry to keep you waiting." Seeing Tsing Hui, the palace master of the Great Sun Divine Palace, whose cultivation had reached the never-ending realm, cupped his hands politely to Tsing Hui. Just these small details were enough to show how much he valued Tsing Hui. "Palace Master Xing Ji, we invited Elder Danyang here this time to ask about your future development. After all, the Great Sun Divine Palace is extremely curious about Elder Danyang, who can condense the divine Grade Golden Crow battle body." Future development? Tsing Hui already understood what the Great Sun Divine Palace was implying. In addition, he wanted to make a deal with the Great Sun Divine Palace. So he immediately said, "Although I'm a Supreme Elder of the Burning Sky sect, I'm indebted to Palace Master Xiang Hong of the Purple Cloud Palace. He once gave me 2 supreme celestial arts, a treasure refining technique and a secret treasure. Therefore, if nothing unexpected happens, I will choose to join the Purple Cloud Palace. 2 supreme celestial arts, a treasure refining technique, and a secret treasure." Xing Ji chuckled. Xing Ji chuckled and said, "I remember that Elder Danyang received 2 supreme immortal skills, a treasure refining skill, and a secret treasure. At the same time, he also contributed a top cultivation method, a cultivation method that can cultivate the divine Grade Gold Crow combat body. In addition, although Palace Master Xiang Hong of the Purple Cloud Palace wants you to join the Purple Cloud Palace, he has always been overcautious. At present, Elder Danyang should not have joined the Purple Cloud Palace. At least according to our secret investigation, Elder Danyang's name was not found in the disciple register of the Purple Cloud Palace. Indeed, the main reason is to borrow the Burning Sky sect's name to participate in the Good Fortune Gathering. I believe that the Great Sun Divine Palace also has sects that secretly support them, wanting to obtain more time to comprehend the Fortune Jade in the Good Fortune Gathering." Sing Hui admitted generously, "Elder Danyang, you've misunderstood. We're not blaming Elder Danyang for this. We just feel that Elder Danyang has cultivated the divine Grade Golden Crow battle body. If you want to cultivate in the Purple Cloud Palace, it'll be a waste of time. In terms of understanding of the Golden Crow Divine Beast, no one in the entire continent dares to say they're number 1. It just so happens that Elder Dongyang hasn't joined the Purple Cloud Palace yet. Why don't you join the Great Sun Divine Palace? If Elder Dongyang is willing, the Great Sun Divine Palace is willing to give Elder Dongyang a real elder status. Elder status. Sing Hui's heart skipped a beat. The status of the elders of the six supreme sects was far superior to that of the supreme elders of some first-class sections. This could be guessed from Perfected Z Hao's visit to the Burning Sky sect and the Burning Sky sect's attitude. If he joined the Great Sun Divine Palace, he could really become an elder of the Great Sun Divine Palace. The treatment he would receive was indeed incomparable to that of the Purple Cloud Palace. I need to think about this carefully. After all, the Purple Cloud Palace has done me a great favor. Although the two supreme deity skills of the Purple Cloud Palace were obtained by me by offering the Great Sun Golden Crow skill, I still owe them a debt of gratitude. Of course, we can understand, but please believe in the ability of the Great Sun Divine Palace. Joining the Great Sun Divine Palace is definitely better for your future than the Purple Cloud Palace. For your own future and for the hope of immortality in the future, even if you abandon the Purple Cloud Palace, no one can say why. What's more, Elder Dongyang hasn't really joined the Purple Cloud Palace and isn't on the disciple list of the Purple Cloud Palace. Xing Hui nodded, but still didn't give a definite answer. Seeing this, Xing Ji couldn't help but strike while the iron was hot. I heard Elder Dongyang mention the Great Sun Golden Crow skill just now. Is this the supreme cultivation skill that Elder Dongyang has cultivated? Yes. Since Elder Dongyang is willing to trade this supreme cultivation skill that can condense the Golden Crow Divine Body with the Purple Cloud Palace, I wonder if the Great Sun Divine Palace will have the opportunity to take a look? The Purple Cloud Palace will give us two supreme deity skills, one artifact refining skill, and one secret treasure. The Great Sun Divine Palace will give us three supreme deity skills, one artifact refining skill, and one secret treasure. What do you think, Elder Dongyang? Xing Hui had mentioned the Great Sun Golden Crow skill time and time again, waiting for the Great Sun Divine Palace to make a bid. Now that the Star Worship Palace Master finally agreed, he was also in the mood. Logically speaking, if the Great Sun Divine Palace obtains the Great Sun Golden Crow skill, they might be able to perfect the Great Sun Golden Crow skill in the future. I can also see the future of my cultivation more clearly. This is not impossible. However, the reason why I was willing to contribute the Great Sun Golden Crow skill to the Purple Cloud Palace with two supreme deity skills and one secret treasure is because the Purple Cloud Palace has done me a favor. The Star Worship Palace Master was slightly startled when she heard Xing Hui's words. Then she smiled. Of course, the favor can't be measured by ordinary items. However, the Great Sun Divine Palace is indeed very curious about this cultivation skill. How about you choose four supreme deity skills, one artifact refining skill, and one secret treasure? Elder Dongyang, please fulfill my request. When Xing Su sensed the abnormality in Xingji's smile, he already understood that the Palace Master had probably seen through his intentions, so it was no longer appropriate for him to continue increasing the price. Since the Palace Master has taken a fancy to this inferior cultivation method of mine, I'll accept your offer. Starting to prepare for the explosion on the weekend. It won't be a small explosion. I hope everyone can continue to support Chung Feng during this period. Chapter 317. Haha. Elder Dongyang is indeed efficient. Du Sun, take my order and lead Elder Dongyang to the Great Sun Divine Palace's Scripture Pavilion to choose four immortal arts, one artifact refining art, and one secret treasure. Xingji laughed and said, yes. Du Sun was rather confused about what was going on, but when he saw that the Palace Master had already reached an agreement with Xing Su, all he had to do was follow her orders. He was also very curious about Xing Hui's cultivation art that allowed him to cultivate the Golden Crow Divine Body. Then, I will have to trouble the Palace Lord to prepare a jade talisman that can be inscribed with divine sense. Xing Hui said, no problem, you can go and choose the immortal arts, artifact refining art, and secret treasure that you're satisfied with. It won't be too late to inscribe the cultivation art after you have chosen them. Xingji seemed to be quite generous. Xinghui was now in the Great Sun Divine Palace. He didn't think that a prominent divine stage cultivator could play any tricks in his territory. If he was tricked by Xinghui in the Great Sun Divine Palace and escaped with many immortal arts, then as the palace lord, he could only accept it. I've already thought about the secret treasure. I begged the palace lord to give me a top-grade fire-warding pearl. Xinghui said. The fire-warding pearl was a treasure that could resist most fire damage. The low-grade fire-warding pearl's fire resistance was limited to the spirit chi as one in the azure darkness stage. The middle grade was for the prominent divine stage and the true essence stage. As for the top grade, it could even defend against the fire elemental attacks of transcendent and never-ending stage cultivators. Although it wasn't as effective as the Xianyang bead from Tianqiang, it wasn't much weaker. Buying the Xianyang bead required Tianqiang's contribution points, but Xinghui couldn't do that. Since he couldn't buy the Xianyang bead for now, he could only take advantage of this opportunity to compromise. A top-grade fire-warding pearl? All right, I'll agree to this. I'll give you a fire-warding pearl. Thank you very much, Palace Lord, Xinghui said with a smile. With this fire-warding pearl, the Jinwu religion's eternal blazing sun attacks would no longer be a threat to him. Elder Dongyang, please. When Du Sun saw that Xinghui and the palace lord had reached an agreement, he gestured with his hand and brought him into the Great Sun Divine Palace. The immortal arts that Star Sacrifice spoke of naturally referred to the numerous comparatively common ordinary immortal arts and supreme immortal arts. Ultimate immortal arts like the 10 suns incinerate the heavens could only be passed down orally at the headquarters. Under Du Sen's lead, the two of them made their way to the scripture pavilion very quickly. Along the way, Du Sun introduced them to Qing Su. Our Great Sun God Palace has collected 152 immortal techniques. Among them, 13 are supreme immortal techniques, 29 are high-grade immortal techniques, and the rest are ordinary immortal techniques. The best immortal technique is the 3 purities sex signature immortal technique, 1 chi into 3 purities. The worst ones are techniques like spitting fire, swallowing blades, and so on. 1 chi into 3 pure ones. There was even such an immortal technique? Did the 3 pure ones sect teach this supreme immortal technique to outsiders? How is that possible? The 3 pure ones sect treasured this supreme immortal technique a lot. But later on, someone from our Great Sun Divine Palace actually comprehended it from the Fortune Jade. No matter how precious 1 chi into 3 pure ones sect is to them, they can't stop others from comprehending it themselves. Xinghui nodded. The 3 pure ones sect had nothing to say if others comprehended it themselves. He had been curious about the profundity of 1 chi into 3 pure ones for a long time. Not only because this immortal technique was related to a great story in ancient Huaxiao myths and legends, but also because of its astonishing power. At the entry level of this immortal technique, one could create 2 incarnations, but their strength would only be 10% of the originals. At the initial success level, the incarnation's battle strength would increase to 30% of the originals. Only at the completion level could one create 3 incarnations with the same strength as the original. Even the 10th level incarnation technique can't compare to the perfection level of 1 chi into 3 pure ones. Xinghui muttered to himself, Elder Dongyang, please. Thank you. Elder Du Senior, maybe we will become members of the palace soon. Elder Dongyang, you don't have to be so polite with me. Du Sun chuckled. After he got to the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion, he gave the palace lord's token to the Transcendent State Elder who was guarding the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. He then stood in front of the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion and said, I will wait here. Elder Dongyang, you can come out whenever you want. Elder Du Sun, please wait for a moment. I will come out as soon as possible. No hurry, no hurry, Du Sun said with a smile and looked quite friendly. A prominent divine state overlord who had cultivated the divine great golden crow body would have a bright future as long as he could pass the examination and gain the trust of the great Sun Divine Palace. Therefore, he didn't mind building a good relationship with this young man before he cultivated a grand divine power. After entering the hidden scriptures pavilion of the great Sun Divine Palace, Tsing Hui started to read. It had to be said that because the Fortune mainland had been peaceful for a long time, the six supreme sects didn't have any large-scale wars. Normally, they would constantly infiltrate each other's forces. The lower echelons of the sects, and even the higher echelons, had reached the extent where they were in each other's midst. Under such circumstances, the various immortal arts they had collected were no exception. Among the 152 immortal arts in the Great Sun Divine Palace, 60% of them were similar to the Purple Firmament Palace's immortal arts. The remaining 20% were modified immortal arts. The degree of their profoundness wasn't bad, but there were obvious flaws. Only the remaining 2 levels of immortal arts could be considered the true essence of the Great Sun Divine Palace. Of course, this could also be related to the fact that the Great Sun Divine Palace deliberately hid their unique and powerful immortal arts. They purposely looked for the more common immortal arts in the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. The 4 immortal arts had a wide range of choices. Tsing Hui didn't need to be too careful. The first thing he chose was the 5 Qi fasting technique and the Wandering Spirit Control technique. The 5 Qi fasting technique was a special immortal art that could swallow the 5 elements to replenish one's energy, allowing one to not eat for months or even years. The grade of this immortal art wasn't high, and the difficulty of cultivating it was also extremely low. However, it could be considered a must-have immortal art for traveling. As for the Wandering Spirit Control technique, one could cultivate one's primordial spirit and travel freely through the void. How cool was that? Most importantly, this Wandering Spirit Control technique had a good tempering effect on one's mind. It was said that when the Wandering Spirit Control technique reached perfection, one could soar into the 9 heavens' astral winds and borrow the Purple Firmament Lightning's power to temper one's primordial spirit. This would allow one's primordial spirit to transform from yin to yang and from illusion to reality. At that time, as long as one's primordial spirit wasn't destroyed, the cultivator would be immortal. Even if one's physical body were to fall, one could seize another body and be reborn. Unfortunately, due to the difficulty of cultivating the Wandering Spirit Control technique, no one had managed to cultivate it to perfection. However, in terms of difficulty, even though the Wandering Spirit Control technique was difficult to cultivate, it was still inferior to Tsing Hui's I Chi turning into 3 pure ones. The I Chi turning into 3 pure ones was one of the 3 most difficult immortal arts to cultivate among the 20 or so supreme immortal arts that countless cultivators on the Fortune mainland had tried to comprehend. The 3 Pure One sect's Boundless Tao's aptitude was mediocre, and he wasn't famous in the 3 Pure One sect. However, since he had started cultivating the I Chi turning into 3 Pure Ones 26 years ago, the 3 Pure One sect had spared no effort in nurturing him, pushing his cultivation to a higher level. More than 10 years ago, he had obtained the right to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade in the Fortune Mainland Grand Assembly. He had lived up to everyone's expectations, and with the help of the Fortune Divine Jade, he had cultivated the I Chi turning into 3 pure ones to the small success stage, and was able to create a clone with half of his battle strength. Fasting technique, Wandering Spirit Control technique, I Chi turning into 3 pure ones, the 4th immortal art. Tsing Hui had his eyes on the shrinking ground technique. This was an immortal art that allowed one to move swiftly on the ground. The speed was as fast as teleportation. Unfortunately, this immortal art had too many limitations, and it could only move on the ground. Tsing Hui guessed that this was a movement technique that borrowed the power of the rotation of the stars. After leaving the ground, one couldn't use the power of the rotation of the stars, so naturally, it couldn't be used. As a cultivator's cultivation increases, the battlefield will shift to the void, so immortal arts like shrinking ground technique are useless. In the end, Tsing Hui gave up on this immortal art and chose the supreme immortal art, stellar transposition. It had to be said that although there were many immortal arts on the Fortune mainland, the types were too strange. For example, fog summoning, wind borrowing, flame spitting, blade swallowing, these immortal arts were of little value. There were also Qi-Ching, sun exposure, moon summoning, and Midas touch, which left him speechless. Shaking his head, Tsing Hui put away these immortal arts and headed towards the treasure refining technique. Although the Great Sun Divine Palace mainly focused on awakening the Golden Crow physique, they didn't seem to refine treasures. There were only 30 treasure refining techniques in the Scripture Depository, which was a level lower than the 44 techniques in the Purple Cloud Palace. However, when he thought about how he managed to obtain a supreme immortal art like one Qi into 3 pure ones in the Scripture Depository of the Great Sun Divine Palace, he was satisfied. He had obtained the Wind Freezing Pearls treasure refining technique in the Purple Cloud Palace's Scripture Depository, and he didn't want to miss out on an opportunity in the Great Sun Divine Palace. After searching for a while, a treasure refining technique appeared in front of him. Tightening Band. The tightening band that Tang Xuanzang used to subdue the great sage, heaven's equal, Sun Wukong. Looking at this treasure, Tsing Hui's eyes lit up. If he could really refine this treasure, if he encountered experts or demonic beasts that he needed to subdue in the future, he only needed to wear this tightening band, and they would immediately be obedient. Even if he imparted the incantation to others, they would also be able to control the cultivator that was bound by the tightening band. The tightening band didn't just bind a person's head, and the pain it brought wasn't just physical pain, but spiritual pain. Moreover, once the tightening band was put on, even if the cultivator had many tricks up their sleeves, even if their primordial spirit left their body or changed their size, they wouldn't be able to break free from the tightening band. This point was vividly displayed by the great sage equaling heaven. This is it. Tsing Hui took out the tightening band's treasure refining technique. Fasting technique, roaming spirit control technique, one Qi into 3 pure ones, stellar transposition, tightening band treasure refining technique, and a high-grade fire aversion pearl. It had to be said that the Great Sun Golden Crow incantation exchanged for more treasures from the Great Sun Divine Palace than the Purple Cloud Palace. No wonder the Purple Cloud Palace was the first force to obtain the Fortune Divine Jade, but in the end, they couldn't keep it. In the end, the Fortune Divine Jade was forced to be made public by the other 5 great sects, allowing everyone on the Fortune mainland to use it. In terms of buying people's hearts, the Purple Cloud Palace really couldn't compete with the Great Sun Divine Palace. At least, after this experience, Tsing Hui's impression of the Great Sun Divine Palace had already surpassed the Purple Cloud Palace. Chapter 3:18. After choosing the immortal techniques and artifact refining techniques he needed, Tsing Hui left the Scripture Pavilion. Du San watched as the elder of the Scripture Pavilion recorded down the immortal arts and treasure-forging techniques that Qing Su had chosen. He could not help but be rather surprised. Elder Dong Yang, I remember that you've only learnt magic arsenal and the reversal of yin and yang, right? Since you have awakened the Golden Crow bloodline and cultivated the divine grade Golden Crow battle body, why didn't you learn sun exposure and Qi-Ching? What do sun exposure and Qi-Ching have to do with the Golden Crow bloodline? Of course they are related. If the Golden Crow bloodline can be cultivated under the sun, the effect will be significant. Sometimes, one can even collect the essence of the sun from the sun in the sky. The essence of the sun is comparable to several months of cultivation and is more useful than ordinary fire attribute spirit crystals. As for sun exposure, it is the idea of increasing the sun's true power. It can make the sun in the sky shine brighter, and in this way, it can absorb more sun's power. If it can assist the Great Sun Divine Palace with some special secret techniques, it is possible to condense the essence of the sun into sun crystals under sun exposure. Sun crystals? Tsing Hui was slightly startled. As his cultivation increased, and he could cultivate on the core of the sun in the sky, Tsing no longer had any concept of sun essence and sun crystals. However, this did not mean that these resources were not precious. From the fact that the Jinwu religion did not hesitate to use large amounts of Dao aura to buy sun crystals from him, it could be seen how precious these resources were. And with the help of the sun exposure, immortal art, and secret techniques, the cultivators of the Great Sun Divine Palace were actually able to condense great sun crystals with their own abilities. Such ability was truly inconceivable. Du Xin seemed to understand something when he saw Qing Su's appearance. He said with some pity, "Actually, in my opinion, the greatest use of immortal techniques to us cultivators isn't to increase our battle prowess, but to provide support. With immortal techniques, we can do many things that cultivation can't. Setting aside Qi Qing and sun exposure, things like riding on clouds, inedia, and size manipulation have endless uses." Hearing this, Tsing glanced at the Sutra Pavilion behind him. "It's a pity that I've already chosen a suitable immortal technique. I'm afraid I won't have a chance to enter the Sutra Pavilion in the near future." Du Sun nodded and said, "I've seen the immortal arts you've chosen. The fasting art is better than the art of fasting, but the art of spiritual control, the three pure ones in one breath, and the stellar transposition are all supreme immortal arts that are extremely difficult to cultivate, especially the three pure ones in one breath. It's one of the three supreme immortal arts that are considered to be the most difficult to cultivate, along with the art of future reversal and the art of blooming flower. Predict the future? Flower blooming for a moment?" Tsing Hui was slightly stunned. This is the most powerful divine ability of the primeval sect and the netherworld sect. It can predict the future, and flower blooming is an extremely evil divine ability. It can manifest as seven-colored flower that can devour the cultivator's blood, essence, and psyche, and finally condense into a Dao fruit. Those who consume the Dao fruit can extend their lifespan and even increase their cultivation base. The reason why the other five supreme sects are not interested in the netherworld sect is because of this supreme immortal art. I can't believe there's such an evil immortal art. Tsing Hui's horizons were broadened. Fortunately, this immortal art is extremely difficult to cultivate. The netherworld sect has been established for more than 2,000 years, and only 2 people have managed to cultivate this immortal art to great success. If this immortal art wasn't fully cultivated, its power would have been relatively ordinary. Otherwise, the world of cultivation would have suffered a great catastrophe long ago. Tsing Hui nodded in agreement. It could devour the cultivator's blood, essence, and psyche and condense them into a Dao fruit that could extend one's lifespan and increase one's cultivation base. This was practically a fantasy version of the Dark North divine art. If this immortal art could be easily cultivated, the world would have been thrown into chaos long ago. Let me take a look at your artifact refining technique. Tight hoop. This artifact refining technique is indeed not bad. However, the wishful gold essence required to refine this artifact refining technique is very difficult to obtain. If a substitute is used, the effect will be greatly reduced, and there's even a possibility that someone will break free. You need to be mentally prepared. Du Sun warned. "I understand. Since you've chosen what you need, let's go see the Palace Lord." Seeing that Tsing Hui had obtained 4 immortal arts and 1 artifact refining technique, Du Sun led Tsing Hui back to East Flame Palace. When they arrived at East Flame Palace, Tsing Hui immediately handed over the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that he had prepared. "The Palace Lord is indeed a trustworthy person. This is the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that I'm cultivating." Good. Xing Ji's eyes flashed with a trace of passion as he received the Great Sun Golden Crow technique immediately. He had said that he would let Tsing Hui choose the immortal arts first, and that there was no need to hurry about the technique. That was to give Tsing Hui peace of mind. Faced with such a god-level technique that could cultivate the divine-grade Golden Crow battle body, no one would believe that he was not eager to take a look at it. After roughly flipping through the manual, Xing Ji immediately had a preliminary understanding of it. It really is worthy of being called a supreme technique that can condense the divine body. The killing techniques derived from this technique are not outstanding, but in cultivating vital energy, refining vital energy, and even the final step of condensing the divine body, it is indeed unique. Also, it contains the method of condensing the eternal blazing Sunday. I'm rather curious about it. If I have the time, I must study it carefully and see if I can use the vital energy cultivated from the Great Sun Divine Palace's sect guarding technique to condense the eternal blazing Sunday. I wish the Palace Lord Xingji will get what he wishes for. Xing Hui said, "Ha! This Great Sun Golden Crow technique is indeed a divine grade technique. For immortal arts, a treasure refining technique, and a high-grade fire aversion pearl in exchange for such a divine-grade technique. It's worth it." Xing Ji replied in a serious tone. When Xing Su heard that, he could understand. The value of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique in the hands of the Great Sun Divine Palace, which specialized in the Golden Crow bloodline, and in the hands of the Purple Cloud Palace, which was well-versed in all aspects, naturally couldn't be compared. Since the Divine Manual is authentic, the transaction is complete. I will take my leave first. My previous invitation has always been valid for Elder Danyang. Elder Danyang, why don't you consider it carefully? If Elder Danyang agrees to become an elder of the Great Sun Divine Palace, the entire Great Sun Divine Palace will welcome you with open arms. I will consider it carefully. After the creation pageant, I will give Palace Lord Xingji an answer. Hearing this, Xingji relaxed a lot. The creation pageant would end in half a month at most. With his temperament that had lived for thousands of years, he wouldn't be unable to wait for half a month. He immediately said, "Then I will wait for Elder Dongyang's good news." Tsing Hui nodded slightly and left the East Flame Palace. After Tsing Hui left, Du Sun came in front of Xingji. That Dongyang shouldn't be able to resist the temptation of our Great Sun Divine Palace. After all, he awakened the Golden Crow bloodline and also cultivated the divine-grade Golden Crow battle body. If he wants to have higher achievements in the future, he will have more hope in our Great Sun Divine Palace than in the Purple Cloud Palace. No one will go against their own future. However, when he really joins our Great Sun Divine Palace, Palace Lord won't really give him the position of an elder, right? He is only in the Vision Divine realm and joined our Great Sun Divine Palace halfway. How about joining our Great Sun Divine Palace halfway? So what if he is in the Vision Divine realm? It's just an elder position. Everything will have to wait until he joins our Great Sun Divine Palace first. Once he joins our Great Sun Divine Palace, our Great Sun Divine Palace will have the initiative. At that time, we can just give him the title of elder. You have to know that the power of a principal elder and an elder with an empty title is completely different. Star Worship Palace Lord's words made Du Sun slightly dazed. However, he immediately understood the Palace Lord's plan and smiled. Palace Lord is right. No matter what, let's pull him into our Great Sun Divine Palace first. Xingji nodded with a smile. While Xingji and Du Sun were discussing Tsing Hui had already arrived at the Burning Sky Sect's encampment. After talking with Star Worship Palace Lord and going to the Scripture Pavilion to choose 4 supreme immortal techniques and a treasure refining technique, he had already missed the time for the private trade fair. Now, it was already late at night. Moreover, he didn't have the qualifications to enter the private trade fair. He could only withdraw his thoughts and return to his room to recharge his energy and wait for the next day's battle of the top 10. The sun rose and the moon set. The moon set and the sun rose. Early the next morning, the Burning Sky Sects group brought Tsing Hui to the venue of the Fortune Grand Assembly. However, it was unknown whether it was because Wang Ke knew about the conflict between Tsing Hui and the Purple Cloud Palace, or because he was delayed by other matters. But this time, Wang Ke, who represented the Purple Cloud Palace, was not by Huang Xiaolong's side to explain the details of each of his opponents. This slight change fell into the Burning Sky Sect's sect leader, Yin Xion's heart, and she couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. However, considering that Tsing Hui was already in the top 10 and qualified to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade, she quickly suppressed this trace of uneasiness. No matter what, their Burning Sky sect goal had been achieved. They had shown enough face in the Fortune Grand Assembly and earned enough reputation. Swoosh! As the 6 Supreme Sect representatives entered the arena, Du Sun, who had been in charge of judging, leaped into the air and landed in the center of the stage. Unknowingly, the Fortune Grand Assembly has reached its most intense moment. Similarly, everyone's attention is focused on this moment, and it's almost time to decide the strongest person in our Fortune mainland's younger generation. Everyone's time is precious, so I won't waste any more words and will directly start the most intense competition. According to the previous rules, in order to prevent people from missing out on the qualifications to compete for the lower rankings, this time, the competition will start from the first-place king's throne. Now, let's welcome the first-place contender to the stage. Just as Du Sun finished speaking, several people simultaneously leaped into the air and landed on the center stage. The 6 Supreme Sect Seed disciples were among them. Other than the 6 Supreme Sect Seed disciples, there was also Ling Huyu and the White Tiger Sect's Holy Prince Bai Lu, whom Wang Ke had deemed as the biggest threat to him. As for the Fire Phoenix Cult's deputy sect leader Yu Yin and Burning Sky Sect's Tsing Hui, there were no movements for the time being. The first place will be decided first. Logically speaking, shouldn't the first place be decided at the last moment? Tsing Hui looked at the various sect seed disciples entering the arena. With no one to explain for him, he could only take the initiative to ask the Burning Sky Sect's sect chief Rockhart. This is the Fortune Grand Assembly's rule, and at the same time, it's to prevent people from being eliminated. You must know that the 6 Supreme Sect's genius disciples are all proud and arrogant. Other than the top 3, they wouldn't put any other rankings in their eyes. Therefore, in order to compete for the top 3 rankings, the 6 Supreme Sect's disciples are bound to battle. If the 10th to 4th place is decided early, what if the 6 Supreme Sect Seed disciples are unwilling to compete for the 4th to 6th place? Wouldn't that be awkward? In order to avoid this kind of situation, the Fortune Grand Assembly's top 3 has always been decided at the first moment. This way, after someone suppresses the crowd and defeats the 9 competitors, the remaining people can continue to compete for the 2nd and 3rd place positions. What if no one can suppress the crowd? Then the ranking will be based on the number of matches won. Rockhart explained. At the end, he smiled at Tsing Hui and said, Elder Dongyong, do you want to go up and test the difference in strength between yourself and the genius disciple who has the highest chance of obtaining the first place? This is an extremely rare opportunity. With this experience, the next time Elder Dongyong participates in the Fortune Grand Assembly, you might be able to break the 6 Supreme Sect's monopoly on the top 6 rankings. When Tsing Hui saw that the Fire Phoenix Cult's deputy sect leader Yu Yin had gone up, and he was the only one left, he immediately stood up and said, Test the strength of the first place. That's exactly what I was thinking. Chapter 319. Tsing Hui leaped and stepped onto the stage. However, the gazes of everyone present did not linger on him. The only one that glanced at him was Gaochen of the Purple Cloud Palace. However, the gaze he used to look at Tsing Hui wasn't serious, but gloomy with a trace of cruelty. Very well. Then, the competition for the number 1 position of this Fortune Conference will officially begin. Anyone who can win 9 matches will become the number 1 position of this year's Fortune Conference. Anyone who admits defeat after being challenged will automatically be considered a failure and will only have the qualifications to compete for the number 2 position. If they admit defeat twice, they will only have the qualifications to compete for the number 3 position. So on and so forth. I wonder who among the young elites will be first. Du Sun said, I'll do it. Nantian Do, one of the 3 most likely to compete for the number 1 position of the Fortune Conference, was the first to step onto the stage. His gaze swept across the crowd and landed on the vice sectmaster of the Fire Phoenix sect. Yu Yin, the first match will be between the 2 of us. Do you choose to fight with me or admit defeat? Yu Yin looked at Nantian Do, who was slowly taking out his star pearl, and her face slightly changed. Shortly after, she unwillingly said, I admit defeat. Oomph. Do you really think it will be like the previous Fortune Conference, where both sides will be injured and let you guys take advantage of us? Dao Wei of the Three Clear sect coldly laughed. Hearing this, the faces of the few heavens prides from the great sects changed. The reason why they all went up to compete for the #1 position was because they were hoping that Nantian Do, Dao Wuya, and Lu Jiahua would fight each other and end up injured, allowing them to take advantage of the situation. After all, although the winner would be able to rest for a day, if their injuries were too severe, a day wouldn't be enough for them to recover to their peak condition. Ling Huyu, you want to fight to the death? You guys should know about my star pearl. It contains the power of a star. I can't control the weight of such a treasure. If I accidentally smash you guys to death, then don't blame me. After Yu Yin retreated, Nantian Do's gaze landed on Ling Huyu with killing intent in his eyes. Ling Huyu weighed her options and finally took a step back. I know that I can't take an all-out attack from the Star Pearl. I admit defeat. At least you know your place. Bai Lu from the White Tiger sect and Dong Yang from the Burning Sky sect. Do I need to name them one by one? Why? Don't they have any self-awareness? All you can think about is taking advantage of the situation. Why don't you take a look at yourself first? At first, Bai Lu was still considering whether he could withstand the power of the Star Pearl. However, after being provoked by Nantian Do, the young man's desire to fight was aroused. He immediately said angrily, I really want to see how powerful my white tiger killing skill is. Please enlighten me. Huh. Nantian Do looked at Bai Lu and his face darkened. He realized that he had gone too far and felt a bit of regret. However, in the blink of an eye, that regret disappeared. Bai Lu was at the true energy realm. Although he had awakened the white tiger's bloodline and cultivated the white tiger's chi when he was at the earth energy realm, he failed to condense a combat body and only managed to cultivate a spiritual combat body. Because the fortune gathering was approaching, he managed to cultivate a true energy realm with the help of many treasures. However, he still didn't think highly of him. On the contrary, Dong Yang from the Burning Sky sect, who had cultivated a divine combat body, gave him a feeling that he couldn't see through him. This was also the reason why he had provoked Bai Lu and Dong Yang. Seeing that Bai Lu was really going to fight him, Nantian Do did not back down. His eyes flashed with a murderous light. Bai Lu, is it? Come. I want to see if your white tiger killing skill can withstand an attack from my Star Pearl. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Come. Bai Lu stepped forward. Without needing Descendo to say anything, the rest of the people left the stage and returned to their respective mountains. They carefully watched the battle between Bai Lu and Nantian Do. The eyes of Dao Wuya from the Three Pristines Temple and Lu Jihua from the Great Sun Divine Palace were especially bright. The two of them and Nantian Do were the best candidates for the throne. The rest of the people, including the geniuses from the Heavenly Court, the Netherworld Sect, and the Purple Cloud Palace, were not worthy of their attention. Perhaps their cultivation was similar to theirs, but their celestial skills and secret treasures were inferior to theirs. Now that they had the opportunity to witness the battle between Nantian Do and Bai Lu, who was not weak, they naturally did not want to miss any details. This time, the participants of the fortune pageant are much smarter. In the previous fortune pageant, there were 4 seeded contestants who directly fought at the beginning, causing both sides to suffer heavy losses. In the end, the first place actually fell into the hands of someone who originally had no hope of making it into the top 3. In the end, although the few of them also obtained good rankings, the first place was taken away by someone else, which was a lifelong humiliation for them. This time, Nantian Do, Dao Wuya, and Sacrificial Flame Lu have learned their lesson from the previous fortune pageant. It's a pity for the others. This time, the top 3 are really hopeless for them. Beside Xing Hui, the sect master of the Burning Sky sect, Rockheart, said helplessly. Originally, she was hoping that Xing Hui would encounter such a good thing and take advantage of the situation at the crucial moment. If the Burning Sky sect could occupy a place in the top 3, the influence it would bring would be far greater than the top 10. But now, it seemed their hopes were slim. Xing Hui did not reply. Instead, he looked at the field. At this moment, the battle between Nantian-do and Bai Lu had already begun. Although Bai Lu had not cultivated the white tiger battle body, he still cultivated the heavenly tiger battle body, which was at the peak of the spiritual grade. His battle strength was tyrannical. Even if the 7th grade divine weapon in his hand was not worthy of his identity as a true energy boundary expert, his battle strength was still extremely tyrannical. At least, the prominent divine stage experts like Yuan He and Qin Jun, who Tsing Hui had fought before, would not be his match even if they attacked together. But, compared to Nantian-do, he was still a little inferior. Nantian-do's divine ability was the Star Shift Dipper. It was proficient in borrowing strength to fight strength. His secret treasure, the Star Pearl, contained the power of a star. How powerful would the Star Pearl be when it fell? If Bai Lu was proficient in a defensive celestial technique, it would be easier. He might be able to use such a celestial technique to stall Nantian-do until he exhausted all the true energy in his body. Unfortunately, the white tiger killing skill was a powerful secret technique that placed great emphasis on the cultivator's aura. It required the cultivator to kill to stop the killing. When faced with the tyrannical Star Pearl, he could not even unleash 60% of its power. The two of them collided in the void. Bai Lu spat out blood as he was sent flying by the Star Pearl. Before Bai Lu could unleash his blood essence to launch another attack, the Star Pearl had already smashed down again. One attack, and one attack after another. That was how Nantian-do relied on the Star Pearl's tyrannical power to continuously smash down. Bai Lu, who was not good at defense, speed, or fighting, was smashed until his internal organs were destroyed. If the White Tiger Sect Master had not admitted defeat on behalf of Bai Lu at the critical moment, the White Tiger Sect's prodigy would have been smashed to death by the Star Pearl. This Star Pearl is too domineering. It doesn't matter what divine ability or technique you have, it'll be smashed into dust with just one attack. This is an unreasonable secret treasure. Rockheart was shocked when she saw Bai Lu being defeated. Even if she, the sect master of first-rate sect, the Burning Sky sect, personally went up to fight Nantian-do, the primordial sect's prodigy, she would not fare any better than Bai Lu. Although the Star Pearl consumed a lot of true energy every time it was used, the Burning Sky sect's burning destruction technique was useless against the power of Star. Moreover, Nantian-do had mastered the Star Shift Dipper, which was good at defense. It made up for his shortcomings. He had both offense and defense. This is a prodigy cultivated by a supreme sect. Compared to the prodigies of ordinary sects, he's much stronger. Even Bai Lu, a true energy realm cultivator, couldn't do anything to him. Elder Dongyang, when the time comes, you'd better act according to your strength. It's not a big deal to lose the battle, but if you're not careful and get smashed to death by the Star Pearl, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Elder Chen Shuo, who was standing by the side, consoled him without any hope. I know what I'm doing, Tsing Hui said in a deep voice. The Star Pearl was good stuff. If he could take the Star Orb with him to the Eastern Barren Territory, he would be able to smash a true energy realm warrior to death. Not even a Transcendent State warrior would be able to withstand the power of the Star Orb head-on. It would be perfect for destroying cities and lakes. Unfortunately, the Star Pearl was precious. The 12 Star Pearls were the most precious treasures of the primordial sect. If not for Nantian-do's talent and the primordial sect's high hopes for him to shine at the Fortune Festival, he would not have been given such a precious treasure. Anyone who took the Star Pearl from Nantian-do would immediately become the primordial sect's mortal enemy. The prodigy of the White Tiger sect is just so. Nantian-do sneered when he saw Bai Lu spitting out blood and being saved by the sect master of the White Tiger sect. At this moment, Du Sen's voice sounded. Do you want to continue the challenge? Or do you want to rest for a day and recover your energy before fighting with Lord Dongyang of the Burning Sky sect? Originally, using the star bead several times had indeed consumed a lot of Nantian-do's Jinqi. He had already intended to rest and fight again tomorrow, but Du Sen did not lower his voice at all, and his voice spread throughout the battlefield. Thinking back to how he had just reprimanded by Lu and Dongyang for not knowing their own limits. If he retreated at this time out of caution, wouldn't it prove that he was afraid of Burning Sky Sec's Dongyang? That would be slapping his own face. Therefore, he paused for a moment and said loudly, "Why do I need to rest? If I need to rest for a day against a prominent divine realm cultivator, wouldn't I be a laughingstock?" Then, he turned to the Burning Sky sect and said with a forceful look, "Burning Sky sect's Dongyang? The number one position isn't something a prominent divine realm cultivator like you can get. Do you want to come down and fight?" Compared to the ridicule he had directed at the two of them earlier, he could be said to be much more polite. Clearly, he had realized his own problem, so he was unwilling to provoke Qing Su with his words. Otherwise, Qing Su would end up like Bai Lu and step down from the stage to fight him to the death once more for the sake of face, exposing his methods for no reason. Unfortunately, Tsing Hui wanted to become the number one person in the creation banquet, so Nantian Do's words did not have any effect. He stood up and jumped toward the platform in the middle of the mountain under the shocked gazes of Yin, Exant, Chen Shuo, and the others. "I want to see how the number one person in the creation banquet is like." This chapter is too lame, but it's a necessary transition chapter. It's better to have 3 chapters today. Chapter 320. Dong Yanyu, Rockheart was stunned. Sigh. He's still young and can't take any provocation. Chen Shuo sighed. He thought that Tsing Hui had been humiliated by Nantian Do and couldn't take it lying down. He wanted to fight Nantian Do, even if he had to get injured. Brother Nantian Do has shot himself in the foot. He can only blame himself for being too arrogant. Lu Jihua, the genius of the Great Sun Divine Palace, gloated as he watched Nantian Do face another challenge. This brat is lucky. If he's crippled by Nantian Do, he won't just give up on all the battles, right? When that time comes, I'm afraid I won't have the chance to kill him while he's in the arena. In the direction of the Purple Cloud Palace, Gao-chen's expression was gloomy as he watched Tsing Hui enter the arena. Ever since he, Gao-chen, became a rare prodigy of the Purple Firmament Palace, everything he did had been smooth sailing, let alone a mere prominent divine genius guest elder. Even the elders who were at the true energy realm like him, and the great elders who wielded great authority in the Purple Firmament Palace all tried to befriend him in hopes that he would be put in an important position when he became the young palace master of the Purple Firmament Palace in the future. He had never thought that Qing Su would humiliate him so viciously while everything was going smoothly. He had asked this brat for the right to comprehend the Fortune Jade, and he dared not give it to him? This was the biggest humiliation he had suffered in the past few years. You have guts. You actually dare to come down and fight me? Could it be that you think you're stronger than Bai Lu? After all, you're only at the Vision Saint stage, while Bai Lu is a true energy stage expert. Bai Lu can rely on his dense, true energy to barely contend against my Star Pearl, but you, what do you rely on to resist my Star Pearl? Your divine grade Golden Crow battle body? Let's not talk about the power of the Golden Crow battle body. If I don't fight you head-on, how long can your divine grade Golden Crow battle body last? Nantian Do looked at Tsing Hui with a strange look in his eyes. He wanted to use words to force Tsing Hui to surrender. Won't you know once you give it a try? You are a true energy realm expert, and you have a precious treasure like the star bead. You have also cultivated a supreme, celestial art like the star shift. Although I don't have much confidence in defeating you, I still don't want to miss the opportunity to fight with you. After all, I am still young. If the next good fortune pageant can be held within 20 years, I will still have the opportunity to participate in the next good fortune pageant. After I understand the strength of the contenders for the first position, I can confirm my specific strength and determine the ranking of the next good fortune pageant. Tsing Hui's words carried a hint of weakness. He had already admitted that he was inferior to Nantian Do. Hearing this, Nantian Do snorted coldly. I'm just afraid that you won't be able to withstand my Star Pearl's attack and die on the spot. You won't have another chance to participate in the Creation Grand Gathering. If that's the case, then I can only blame my bad luck. However, I feel that with the Golden Crow body, it won't be a problem for me to block 1 or 2 attacks from Your Excellency's Southern Sky Dipper. If I feel that the Golden Crow body is about to collapse after a few rounds of attacks, I will immediately admit defeat to ensure my own safety. When Nantian Do saw how Qing Su had already considered his options and was completely prepared to admit defeat, yet he still insisted on fighting him stubbornly, Nantian Do snorted angrily. Since you want to embarrass yourself before so many fellow cultivators, I'll fulfill your wish. At this moment, Du San saw that the conversation between the two had come to an end. He opened his mouth and said, "Are the two of you ready?" "I am ready," Sing Hui said. "Where's your weapon?" "Without a weapon, you can't withstand a single attack from my star bead," Nantian Do said coldly. "I plan to test the Golden Crow Divine Body against the star bead before making a decision. If the Golden Crow Divine Body can't even withstand a single attack from the star bead without a weapon, then it proves that the gap between us is too big. At that time, it doesn't matter if I use a weapon or not. Since you want to see it, I will fulfill your wish." A cold light flashed across Nantian Do's eyes. He then nodded to Du San, indicating that he was ready. Seeing this, Du San immediately flew into the void and ordered, "The battle begins." Seeing that Du San had announced the start of the battle, Nantian Do activated his true Yuan and slowly took out the top secret treasure in his hand. He said coldly, "Since you want to see the gap between yourself and a cultivator like me, who is destined to win the throne of the Creation Grand Gathering, I will fulfill your wish. Rumble." Before Nantian Do could finish his words, a terrifying force suddenly rose into the sky. It was as if a dazzling sun had jumped out from the horizon in an instant, bursting forth with unprecedented radiance. The boundless radiance was so dazzling that everyone could barely open their eyes at this moment. They could only vaguely hear a low shout of 2 words coming from within the extremely vast and dazzling sunlight. "Sun glory!" Then an even more violent force erupted and swept across. Just as this violent and destructive force was about to spread completely in the form of a sun that could destroy the world, enveloping the entire mountain peak and even the venue of the Creation Grand Gathering, the 4 transcendent realm cultivators reacted at the same time. "Oh no, don't let this force spread. What a terrifying power. What kind of move is this?" The 4 transcendent realm cultivators acted at the same time, forcibly restraining the explosive force that was about to spread out at the center of the stage. Even so, that vast and violent aura still rushed out of the stage, hitting the faces of the spectators, making them feel as if they were caught in a raging inferno. If it weren't for the fact that a third of the Fortune Mainland's experts were gathered at this Creation Grand Gathering, including many transcendent realm and never-ending realm cultivators, which neutralized and suppressed the explosive force at the critical moment, there would have been hundreds and thousands of true chi and spirit refining realm cultivators dying from serious injuries, even with the 4 transcendent realm cultivators. Could this be the innate ability of the Golden Crow physique? In the direction of the Great Sun Divine Palace, Palace Master Xingji, who had obtained the Great Sun Golden Crow Technique's secret treasure, his eyes lit up. Although the 4 transcendent realm cultivators were unable to fully suppress the explosive force contained in Tsing Hui Sword Strike because they did not react in time, it was enough to prove how powerful Tsing Hui Sword Strike was. It had definitely reached the level of a transcendent realm cultivator's full strength attack. A prominent divine realm cultivator was actually able to erupt with power that was close to a transcendent realm cultivator's full strength attack. Then, when he reached the true element boundary, or even the transcendent realm, how strong would his battle strength be? Not only Xingji, but the other Supreme Sex cultivators' faces also changed drastically as they looked at the gradually dissipating flames in the center of the stage. Their expressions were extremely solemn. Among these people, the Grand Elder, the Grand Beginning Sect, and the Purple Firmament Palace's Xiang Hong were the most shocked. What kind of secret technique does this brat possess? How could a single sword strike have such power? Is it a supreme, immortal technique stolen from our purple firmament palace? Xiang Hong's face darkened. Our purple firmament palace doesn't have such a sword technique, Xiang Jun replied helplessly. Gao Chen opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end, he could only say such a powerful secret technique must have serious after effects. Otherwise, everyone would be cultivating the secret technique instead of breaking through to the next realm. That's right, that's right. Such a secret technique must have endless after effects. I think this brat is young and impetuous and can't take any provocation. That's why he didn't hesitate to use such a mutually destructive secret technique in order to win. Xiang Hong nodded slightly. If a prominent divine realm cultivator was able to use such a powerful secret technique without any after effects, wouldn't he be invincible in the world? Xiang Hong wasn't the only one who thought so. The other people from the great sects who were shocked also came to their senses. They felt that they were making a fuss over nothing and focused on the center of the stage, wanting to see what Xinghui looked like. As the blazing flames were suppressed by the joint efforts of the four transcendent realm experts led by Du San, the scene above was revealed. At this time, the originally extremely sturdy arena had been burned into glass by the terrifying heat of the sword of the glorious sun. Some places had even been completely melted. In the center of the stage, Nantian Do, who was not dead but had completely lost his ability to resist, appeared in front of everyone. Opposite him was Xinghui, who looked pale and had obviously exhausted all of his genuine qi. The consequences are indeed serious. It seems that he has exhausted all of his genuine qi. Like I said, such a powerful secret technique can have no aftereffects. Since he has cultivated a divine-grade battle body, he must have condensed divine-grade genuine qi. It's not easy to recover his divine-grade genuine qi. Even with the help of elixirs, it will take 3 to 5 days. Although the winner can apply for a day's rest, it's not enough for him to recover his genuine qi. If he loses 3 or 4 rounds in a row, even if he wins this round, I'm afraid he won't be able to enter the top 3. Seeing Xinghui's weak appearance, many of the experts who were watching suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. On the stage, Xinghui suppressed the feeling of emptiness in his body, took a deep breath, and said coldly to Nantian Do, although I don't know much about myself, I still have the power to attack if I give up everything. Now, it seems that my attack has had an effect. When these words fell into the ears of the crowd, they confirmed their previous guess. A warrior can be killed, but not humiliated. Nantian Do really has a loose tongue. Which of those who can stand out and enter the top 10 in the Creation Festival don't have some trump cards? No matter how strong he is, he shouldn't have bullied others and forced them to fight to the death. Speaking of which, Dong Yang is quite scheming. He said that he wanted to test the power of the Star Pearl, which made Nantian Do mistakenly think that he would focus on defense at the beginning. That's why Nantian Do took out the Star Pearl at the beginning of the battle. Who would have thought that Dong Yang would use all his strength to perform a secret technique that can greatly damage his vitality? I have to say, Nantian Do lost unjustly. After hearing what you said, I also have the same feeling. This secret technique only has the power for one attack. After that, one's genuine qi will be exhausted. If Nantian Do had been prepared and retreated the moment Dong Yang attacked, or used the substitution celestial technique to avoid the fatal attack, wouldn't Dong Yang's life be in Nantian Do's hands when his genuine qi was exhausted? Because of Dong Yang's words, Nantian Do made the wrong judgment and was hit by Dong Yang's attack. Nantian Do lost unjustly. Nantian Do was careless. It's a pity that he missed the opportunity to become number 1. The voices of the elders rang out again. They had all kinds of opinions and words, and they all felt sorry for Nantian Do, who missed the opportunity to become number 1. Chapter 3:21. On the stage, Xinghui ignored the discussions of the elders. He turned to Du San and said, "Judge, please announce the result of this battle." Du San was stunned for a moment, but he reacted quickly. He looked at Sing Hui with a complicated expression. It was rare to see an unorthodox cultivator like Sing Hui defeat one of the 6 supreme sex-seeded contestants. However, when he thought about the fact that Sing Hui would soon be recruited by the Great Sun Divine Palace as an elder, a smile appeared on his face. He nodded at Sing Hui and announced loudly, "The winner of this battle is Dong Yang of the Burning Sky sect. Your Excellency Dong Yang has accumulated 1 victory. Do you want to continue the battle, or I choose to rest for a day and continue the battle tomorrow?" Sing Hui said without hesitation. "Good." Du Sun nodded and said, "Then, Your Excellency Dong Yang, please step down. Let's invite the next contestant to the stage." Sing Hui smiled bitterly and cupped his fist at Du Sun. "I don't have any true qi in my body right now. Elder, please send me on my way." Du Sun was stunned for a moment, but he smiled and nodded. "It seems like you're really going all out with this attack. That's how this secret technique works. Once I make a move, all the Jin qi in my body will be used up. It's not up to me. It's amazing. The person who created this secret technique must be a transcendent realm cultivator. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to use all his strength in one go." Du Sun said as he circulated his true qi and wrapped it around Sing Hui. He then sent Sing Hui towards the Burning Sky sect. When everyone saw this scene, they lowered their guard against Sing Hui. He has really used up all his true qi. He can't even fly with his sword? If he can't kill his target with this attack, wouldn't he be like a fish on a chopping board? Strictly speaking, such a secret technique is still somewhat useless. It's not that useless. If he is facing an enemy 1 or 2 times stronger than him, would he use this attack to fight to the death, or would he be killed? He knows what to choose without thinking. That's true. The discussion once again reverberated through the crowd. Dao Yi, Lu Jianhua, and the other cultivators who had the ambition to take the #1 seat all let out a sigh of relief. This kind of secret technique, which was full of drawbacks, could play a significant role under special circumstances, but once the opponent was prepared, it was not worth mentioning. Sing Hui was escorted by Du Sun to the Burning Sky Sect's camp. The Burning Sky Sect's people looked at Sing Hui's weak appearance and couldn't help but reveal a worried expression. "Elder Dong Yang, you don't have the strength to compete for the throne. Why do you have to offend the primeval sect?" "That's right. If you have the confidence to compete for first place, our Burning Sky sect will do everything in our power to give you sufficient support. However, is there need to go to this extent for the sake of mere personal feelings? I have my own considerations," Sing Hui said. He didn't want to say anything more. He also didn't mind the noise around him. He sat down cross-legged and started to recover his real qi. It wasn't that he didn't want to return to the Burning Sky sect's courtyard, but he didn't want to miss this opportunity to understand the strength of the other supreme cultivators. The other supreme cultivators looked at each other, especially Dao Wuya and Lu Jianhua. With Nantian Do's example as an example, the two of them naturally didn't want to repeat the same mistake. "Brother Wuya, there are still 3 people left who can be challenged. They are all supreme cultivators of our supreme sections. I will take care of the Purple Cloud Palace's Gauchen, and you will take care of the Netherworld sects and Heavenly Court's contestants. What do you think? Although you fought one more battle, I am willing to challenge Dong Yang first when the fortune pageant resumes tomorrow." Lu Jinhua's voice echoed in Dao Wuya's ears. "Oof. The Burning Sky sect's Dong Yang real qi has been completely used up. Even if they can recover their real qi in a day, how much can they recover? Why don't I take care of the Purple Cloud Palace's Gauchen, and you take care of the Netherworld sects and Heavenly Court's supreme cultivators? Since Brother Wuya thinks that Dong Yang and Gauchen are easier to deal with, I will do as Brother Wuya wishes. Do you want to go first, or should I? The guest will follow the host's decision. Then let me experience the skills of the Netherworld sect's Holy Son." As Lu Jianhua spoke, he leaped up and landed in the middle of the platform. He looked in the direction of the Netherworld sect. "Netherworld Holy Son, it has been many years since we last met. Can we have a chat?" The Netherworld Holy Son glanced at Lu Jianhua. After a moment of silence, he said, "I have no intention of competing for the throne. I admit defeat." Hearing the Netherworld Holy Son admit defeat, the crowd was in an uproar. Even Dao would have felt like he had been cheated. Thank you, Netherworld Holy Sun. In the future, I, Lu Jinhua, will definitely pay you a visit to thank you. As Lu Jinhua spoke, he turned to the Heavenly Court's Supreme Cultivator. The Heavenly Court's Supreme Cultivator did not exchange pleasantries. He leaped up and landed in the middle of the platform. I have heard of the Great Sun Divine Palace's 10-sun burning sky immortal technique for a long time. Today, I would like to see it for myself. Since you wish to see it, I will naturally fulfill your wish. 10-sun burning sky. Xing Hui raised his head and looked at the middle of the platform. Xing Hui was very curious about the supreme immortal technique of the Great Sun Divine Palace. Even though this immortal technique was not known as the most difficult immortal technique to cultivate like the 3 purities with the 1 qi, reverse reading of the future, and instant blooming of flowers, it was definitely one of the most powerful and most domineering supreme immortal techniques. With this immortal technique and the high-grade fire version pearl, Lu Shihua was actually the strongest competitor for the throne of first place in Qingsu. The battle between the two on the platform quickly erupted. Both of them were true energy realm cultivators. Even though the Heavenly Court's prodigies didn't possess any particularly powerful immortal arts, they still possessed considerable battle prowess with the aid of other immortal arts. They were actually able to hold their own against sacrificial fire Lu. Seeing that ordinary methods could not take down the Heavenly Court's supreme cultivator, Lu Jinhua did not waste any more time. He immediately summoned a secret treasure in his hand. This secret treasure rose into the sky and turned into a blazing sun. Endless radiance and vast heat immediately poured down. In terms of heat and temperature alone, it was not much inferior to Xing Hui's glorious sun sword. 10-sun burning sky. Rockheart looked at Lu Jinhua's technique and sighed with emotion. This is the Great Sun Divine Palace's most powerful immortal technique. Xing Hui frowned as he looked at the blazing sun in the sky. He did not see the use of this immortal technique. This blazing power might be enough to deal with Blue Underworld Realm or even prominent Divine Realm cultivators, but might not be effective against true Energy Realm cultivators. Rockheart looked at Qing Su from one side, as if he could see what he was thinking. The key is how many days he's cultivated it. Lu Xian's sacrificial flames seem to have reached 4 days. But even if 4 suns hover in the air, the scorching power is still nothing to true Energy Realm experts. The true power of the 10 suns incineration immortal technique is that it can use the power of the 10 suns to create a field similar to a domain. In this field, cultivators with the Golden Crow bloodline who are born with the power of the sun are basically invincible. Not only can they constantly obtain power from the 10 suns, but even if their battle physique is dispersed, they can still quickly reform it. They're basically indestructible, a domain-like existence. Xing Hui's expression changed slightly. Domain? That was a technique that only true Divine Realm cultivators could use. 10-sun burning sky could actually create a domain. Inconceivable? However, that is the truth. The founder of the Great Sun Divine Palace, who had pushed it from a first-rate sect to a supreme sect, had cultivated this supreme immortal art to the realm of 7 suns in the sky. Even though this supreme immortal art had yet to reach perfection, the founder of the Great Sun Divine Palace was still able to fight against 10 never-ending realm experts by himself. In the end, the founder of the Great Sun Divine Palace had to rely on other methods to break through his 10 suns domain. Through that battle, the founder of the Great Sun Divine Palace became the #1 expert in the entire Fortune mainland. In the following years, the founder of the Great Sun Divine Palace grew stronger and stronger, eventually becoming one of the 6 supreme sects of the Fortune mainland. Rockheart looked at Lu Jinhua, who had already summoned 3 suns, and an indescribable light flickered in his eyes. It is rumored that cultivators with the Golden Crow bloodline would be able to gain a shocking amount of power in the 10-sun burning sky domain. However, the closer their bloodline is to the Great Sun Golden Crow, the greater the effect. Take Lu Jinhua, for example. If he had cultivated the golden crow physique, then under the four suns in the sky domain, there would be very few transformative realm cultivators who could be his opponent. A sun domain that can continuously gain power. Tsinghui looked at Lu Jinhua's technique with a burning gaze. If he could obtain this supreme immortal art, his combat strength would definitely increase by a lot. On the platform, just as Rockhard had said, Lu Jinhua's vital essence seemed to be limitless with the help of the sun domain formed by the three suns in the sky. He continued to use powerful killing moves without worrying about energy consumption. Blazing airwaves swept in all directions. If it weren't for the four transformative realm cultivators of the Great Sun Divine Palace trying their best to suppress the spread of power, the void within a radius of dozens of kilometers would have turned into a sea of fire. Even so, the surrounding temperature was still rising rapidly. An ordinary person would have died of dehydration after staying in this area for half an hour. Lu Jinhua has cultivated a saint-grade battle body, and his vital essence has fallen to spirit grade. Logically speaking, his battle body shouldn't have manifested for more than half an hour, but now it's more than half an hour. An hour is almost up. The Three Suns domain is constantly absorbing the blazing energy that escapes from his battles, turning it into energy that is once again absorbed by the sacrificial flames, causing his true essence consumption to only be a third of that of a normal battle. Tsing Hui's eyes sparkled as he stared at the two people fighting. This immortal art was very effective for him. If he could really get his hands on this immortal art and cultivate it, he would be able to solve the problem of the Golden Crow Divine Body's excessive vital essence consumption. In the future, it wouldn't be difficult for him to roam the eastern wilderness with his prominent divine cultivation. Third watch. Tomorrow, we will start the real explosive mode. Looking for recommendation tickets, subscriptions, and monthly votes to support. Chapter 322. The day's battles came to an end. Among the top 10 participants, apart from Tsing Hui, Lu Jinhua, and Dao Wuya, everyone else had lost once, losing the right to compete for first place. Of course, this qualification was not absolute. If Tsing Hui, Lu Jinhua, and Dao Wuya also lost once due to various reasons, then it would depend on who could accumulate 8 victories. Even if they did not have 8 victories, they would still be able to take first place. That night, no one from the Purple Cloud Palace came to invite Tsing Hui. Even Wang Ke was nowhere to be found. Now, no matter how slow the people from the Burning Sky clan were, they could guess that there was a rift between Tsing Hui and the Purple Cloud Palace. They could not help but feel worried. However, Tsing Hui ignored them. When night fell, he went straight to the East Flame Palace inside the Great Sun Divine Palace. When he met a patrolling guard on the way, he directly told the guard why he wanted to see Elder Du Senator, as Qing Su was an expert with a god-tier battle body. He ranked in the top 10 of this year's fortune banquet. The patrolling guards dared not neglect him at all. After receiving permission from Elder Du San, they brought him to Elder Du Sin's residence very soon. Elder Dongyang, may I ask what brings you here so late at night? Seeing Tsing Hui, Du Sun greeted him warmly. Although Tsing Hui's attack that had defeated Nantian Do had a fatal flaw, it was still very practical. The Great Sun Divine Palace was also somewhat envious of this attack. Elder Du Sun, may I ask if you can contact the Starlight Palace Lord? I have a deal to discuss with the Star Worship Palace Master. I wonder if I can meet the Star Worship Palace Master? You want to see the Palace Lord? Du Sun was slightly taken aback. Thinking of how much importance the Starlight Palace Lord placed on Tsing Hui, he nodded slightly. I'll contact the Palace Lord for you. Thank you, Elder Du Senior. Du Sun nodded and quickly sent a message. Soon, he received a reply. He turned to Tsing Hui and said, the Palace Lord will come to the East Flame Palace in an hour. Elder Dongyang, please wait for a moment. Of course, I'm already satisfied that the Palace Lord can take time out of his busy schedule to meet with me. Let alone an hour. Even if he has to wait for an entire night, I won't complain. Elder Dongyang's words are too serious. Elder is the most distinguished guest of our great sun, Divine Palace. If the Palace Lord wasn't delayed by something, he would have rushed over immediately. Why would he make Elder Dongyang wait for so long? Sing Hui smiled and didn't say anything else. In less than an hour, the Palace Lord of the Star Worship Palace of the Great Sun Divine Palace had already stepped into the Eastern Flame Hall. When he saw Ching Su, he clasped his hands with a smile. He did not put on the airs of a peak Eternal Realm expert at all. Elder Dongyang, you've truly demonstrated your might at the fortune gathering today. The genius of the primeval sect, Nantian Do, who the primeval sect had placed all their hopes on, was actually defeated by Elder Dongyang in a single stroke. It's simply shocking. Elder Dongyang, did you not see the reactions of the elders of the various sects and organizations back then? They were all dumbfounded. Even I, the Palace Lord of the Great Sun Divine Palace, was frightened by Elder Dongyang's strike. You're flattering me, Palace Lord. What's so special about an attack that requires all of one's true chi? Isn't any transcendent realm overlord able to do that? Although a transcendent state overlord can unleash a powerful attack with all of his true chi, it's still not enough to unleash the true essence of a prominent divine state cultivator like Mr. Dongyang. Sing Hui smiled and didn't continue on this topic. The power of the Sword of the Glorious Sun was indeed great, but as Sing Hui comprehended the Sword of the Glorious Sun, he faintly added some element fission techniques into it, making it even more terrifying than Swordmaster Bai Heng's Sword of the Glorious Sun. Moreover, he was fully confident that when he cultivated this Sword of the Glorious Sun to perfection and completely transformed it into a fission sword, its true power would definitely surpass Swordmaster Bai Heng's Sword of the Glorious Sun. However, he naturally couldn't say these words to others right now. I've come to find Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace because I have a deal to make with you. Palace Lord, please consider it. Oh, what deal? I'd like to hear the details. Sing Hui slightly lowered his voice and said in a deep voice, I want to use 4 days of time to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade to exchange for the 10 days of burning the heavens cultivation method with Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace. Huh. Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace, who had a smile on her face, suddenly became serious. Elder Dongyang has taken a fancy to our Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens. This celestial art can form a domain-like existence. Cultivators of the Golden Crow bloodline already have an extremely powerful combat strength in it. If a cultivator like me, who has cultivated the Golden Crow combat body, can step into it, you can imagine how great the increase will be. Therefore, the celestial art is the key to whether I can go against the flow of Hunyuan and fight above my level. Its importance to me is self-evident. I naturally hope to obtain the true inheritance of this supreme celestial art from the Divine Palace. 10 days of burning the heavens with the Golden Crow battle body. The Starlight Palace Master's face revealed a trace of interest as well. He really wanted to know exactly how formidable the Golden Crow battle body was in the 10 suns incinerate the world. However, wanting to know was one thing, and he wouldn't underestimate the sect guarding immortal art at all. We are also very curious about how powerful Elder Dongyang's Golden Crow battle body and 10 days of burning the heavens will be when used together. However, 10 days of burning the heavens is our Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal art. In order to comprehend this supreme immortal art, our ancestors of the Great Sun Divine Palace poured in a lot of effort. In the future, countless cultivators who had awakened the Golden Crow bloodline even wanted to bypass our Great Sun Divine Palace to comprehend this supreme immortal art with the help of the Fortune Divine Jade, but without exception, all of them ended in failure. Therefore, if Elder Dongyang wants to obtain this supreme immortal art, I'm afraid. Sing Hui looked at Starlight. At this time yesterday, he was still relying on the Great Sun Golden Crow battle body to raise the price, but now, the status of the two was reversed. Sing Hui smiled bitterly and said, What request does Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace have for you to teach this supreme, immortal art to me? Xingji shook his head. This is the sect-protecting immortal technique of our Great Sun Divine Palace. Even the disciples of our Great Sun Divine Palace can't teach it if they haven't made great contributions. Moreover, Elder Dongyang hasn't agreed to join our Great Sun Divine Palace, so I can accept your invitation to join the Great Sun Divine Palace after the Fortune Grand Banquet and assume the position of an elder. This is still not enough. Even if you become an elder of our Great Sun Divine Palace and are willing to give up 4 days to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade, it is still not enough for you to be taught the supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens. This is the foundation of our Great Sun Divine Palace's strength. Starlight shook his head. Xinghui knew that Starlight was trying to raise the price. Of course, his intentions were unclear, and he could not gain Starlight's complete trust. Then, how about I add another condition? If Great Sun Divine Palace's Heaven's Pride, Lu Jihua, wants to compete for the throne, his biggest opponent has changed from Nantian Do and Dao Wuya to Dao Wuya alone. If Starlight Palace Lord is willing to teach me the supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens, I can guarantee that I will defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate Lu Jihua's biggest opponent. What did you say? Starlight, who was still trying to raise the price, heard Xinghui say that he could defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate Lu Jihua's biggest opponent for the throne. His eyes lit up. Are you serious? You could defeat Dao Wuya? You can defeat Dao Wuya? That's right. As long as Dao Wuya is defeated, Lu Jihua only needs to be careful, and his chances of winning will be above 80 to 90%. Even the Heaven's Pride from the Heavenly Court and the Netherworld Sect are no exception. When that time comes, Lu Jihua will have secured the throne of number 1 and will have the chance to study the Fortune Jade for a whole month. With this month, his 10 days of burning the heavens and 4 days of burning the heavens will most likely continue to climb. In the end, he will be able to reach the 5 days, 6 days, and even the 7 days of burning the heavens. Starlight was tempted when he heard this. If Lu Jihua could really get the chance to study the Fortune Jade for a month, he might not be able to reach the 7 days of burning the heavens. But the chances of him reaching the 6 days of burning the heavens would be more than 60%. As long as he could increase his cultivation level by 1 or 2 more levels, he might be able to understand the key to the 7 days of burning the heavens. How can you guarantee that you could defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate the biggest threat for Lu Jihua? You have to know that Dao Wuya is a true energy realm elite. Furthermore, you have used up a lot of your qi in today's battle. It will take more than a day or 2 to recover. Even if you can recover your qi in a day, Dao Wuya will not be easily hit by your attack. How can you guarantee that you can defeat him in such a situation? Palace Master Starlight must have gone back to study the Great Sun Divine Palace yesterday, right? Then you should know that the 6th level of the Divine Palace contains the method to create a unique treasure. Unique treasure? Starlight was taken aback. Then, a look of surprise appeared on his face. The eternal blazing sun. It is the eternal blazing sun. I have cultivated a divine gray battle body, and I was lucky enough to cultivate 2 eternal blazing suns while I was breaking through. These 2 eternal blazing suns were condensed from the foundation of my divine gray battle body, and their power is incomparable to ordinary treasures. If they were to explode at the same time, it would not be difficult to severely injure Dao Wuya. After all, Dao Wuya's power is based on his divine gray battle body. His 2 clones and 1 true body are connected to form a battle formation, and his combat power is above ordinary true energy realm elites. However, my eternal blazing sun is an area of effect attack that does not differentiate between targets, and it completely counters his divine gray battle body. When Starfall heard this, he immediately understood. Moreover, he had studied the Great Sun Golden Crow technique the night before, so he had a good understanding of the eternal blazing sun day. He nodded. The eternal blazing sun condensed from a divine gray battle body is much more powerful than ordinary eternal blazing suns. If the two eternal blazing suns were to explode at the same time, in addition to your own combat power, Dao Wu would definitely lose. Then, Palace Master Starlight, you mean? Change it. The two of us can sign a contract. If you can defeat Dao Wu tomorrow, the Great Sun Divine Palace's divine grade battle body will be yours. I wish all soul engineers a happy holiday. Let's start the explosion and take away the Fortune Divine Jade. Please recommend, subscribe, and vote. Chapter 323. Deal. The two of us can sign a contract. If you can defeat Dao Wu tomorrow, the Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal technique, 10 suns burning the heavens, will be yours. Xing Ji agreed without hesitation. All right, but I hope to obtain the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique today. Palace Master Xing Ji, please understand my impatience. Xing Hui cupped his hands and said. Xing Ji looked at Xing Hui, his eyes flashing. I'll give you the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique today. Please allow it, Palace Master. Xing Ji sized up Xing Hui for a while, then nodded. All right, I can give you the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique first. However, in the contract later, whether it's you joining our Great Sun Divine Palace, contributing 4 days of the Fortune Jade, or defeating Dao Wu, all of these must be written in the contract. If you fail to complete any of these, then don't blame me for offending you. All right, Xing Hui said. Actually, the reason why I hope to obtain the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique first is to comprehend it as soon as possible. After I have a foundation, I can take advantage of the time left to comprehend the Fortune Jade to see if I can cultivate it. If I'm presumptuous, I hope Palace Master will forgive me. Seeing that Xing Hui had agreed, a smile appeared on Xing Ji's solemn face. I can understand. I'll inform the Supreme Elder of the Scripture Depository and ask him to personally deliver the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. Du Sun, go prepare the contract. Yes. Du Sun responded and quickly retreated. This matter was indeed not suitable for too many people to know. The Supreme Elder of the Scripture Depository with the never-ending realm came very quickly. In less than half an hour, he had already stepped into the East Flame Palace. Du Sun had already prepared the contract. After Xing Hui signed his name on the contract, Xing Ji carefully handed the Jade Talisman with the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique to Xing Hui. Elder Dongyang, this time, you're the real Elder Dongyang of our Great Sun Divine Palace. Although you'll have to wait until the end of the Fortune Banquet, I believe you'll keep your word. This is the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. Elder Dongyang, keep it well. I also can't wait to see what kind of earth-shattering power this technique can unleash when combined with your Golden Crow body. I'm also looking forward to the 10 suns immortal technique. Xing Hui put away the Jade Talisman with a smile. Time is of the essence. I urgently need to go back and comprehend the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. I won't stay here for long. Then, as if he had thought of something, he added, by the way, for some special reason, I've offended Supreme Elder Xiang Hong of the Purple Cloud Palace. Hartcliffe followed closely behind, but Chen Shuo and the other true energy boundary elders did not follow. Elder Dongyang, what are you? Hartcliffe took advantage of Du Xiu leading the way and asked with a strange expression. Hee. The Purple Cloud Palace is too big for me to climb up to, so I can only find another way. Xing Hui said. In truth, Xing Hui had his own considerations for letting the Great Sun Divine Palace send people over. He had switched sides to the Great Sun Divine Palace to let everyone know his position. When the Fortune Festival ended and he left with the Fortune Divine Jade, the impact on the Burning Heaven sect would be minimized. It could also be considered to avoid harming the innocent. As for the Purple Cloud Palace's attitude, they had already fallen out, so he naturally did not care. This, Harcliffe could only sigh when he heard Tsing Hui's words. He did not know what to say. The Burning Heaven sect was a first-rate sect that relied on the Purple Cloud Palace to survive, so it was not their place to interfere in this matter. Just do as usual. Anyone can see that the Burning Heaven sect is just a springboard. Even if the Great Sun Divine Palace and the Purple Cloud Palace really fight because of me in the future, it won't bring any trouble to the Burning Heaven sect. Tsing Hui said to Harcliffe. Understand. Rockhart nodded with a helpless expression on his face. This was the tragedy of a weak sect. Even though the Burning Heaven sect's strength on the surface was not inferior to any of the 10 sacred sects of the Eastern Wilderness. As Tsing Hui, Du Xiu, Harcliffe, and the others arrived at their mountain peak, they naturally attracted everyone's attention, especially Xiang Hong, Gao Chen, and the others from the Purple Cloud Palace. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent, and even Sage Zi Hao and the other elders who did not know what was going on frowned. Only Xiang Jun had a trace of regret on his face, but when he saw Grand Elder Xiang Hong, who was filled with murderous intent, he did not say anything in the end. He was only the palace master of the Central Earth branch of the Purple Cloud Palace, not the palace master of the main palace. His status was slightly lower than Grand Elder Xiang Hong's. Since Grand Elder Xiang Hong had already taken over this matter, whatever the final outcome was, it had nothing to do with him. However, it was a pity for such a genius. The scene of Tsing Hui and the people from the Great Sun Divine Palace walking together caused waves of discussion in the crowd. However, this was the territory of the Great Sun Divine Palace after all, and this matter involved 2 supreme sections. Although the crowd was curious, they did not make a big fuss. Moreover, with the arrival of Elder Du Sun, the Starry Worship Palace Master, and the others, the creation pageant resumed, and the crowd focused their attention on the creation pageant. After a day of rest, I believe that all the geniuses have recharged their energy and recovered their true power. Then, let the creation pageant continue. I wonder which genius will be the first to challenge today. As the arbitrator, Du Sun stood in the center of the platform and said loudly. As soon as he finished speaking, Tsing Hui jumped down first and landed in the center of the platform under the incredulous gazes of the crowd. He looked directly at the 3 pure sect and said, Dong Yang of the Burning Heaven sect would like to challenge Brother Wu Ya of the 3 pure sect. Chapter 3:24. Dong Yang from the Burning Sky sect is challenging Dao Wu Ya from the 3 pristine sect? Is he crazy? Dong Yang hasn't even fully recovered his chi yet, and he dares to challenge Dao Wu Ya, who has the highest chance of becoming number 1. Does he really think that he can look down on the geniuses of the supreme sects just because he defeated Nantian Do from the Taisher sect with his strange sword technique? He has no respect for anyone. Everyone is already on guard against that sword technique of his. It won't be so easy for him to plot against us again. Soon, he will understand the difference between him and the heavens' prides of the supreme sections. The crowd immediately fell into an uproar when they saw Ching Su step onto the platform. Discussions constantly rang out. Even Rockhart's eyes widened. She couldn't come back to her senses for a long time. After a long while, she finally said in disappointment, That's fine. Losing to a peak genius like Dao Wu Ya is also fine. After all, he doesn't have any hope of making it into the top 3. He'll be defeated sooner or later. Although holding on a little longer will allow our Burning Sky sect to gain more fame, it won't be too meaningful. At this moment, the prodigy of the 3 purities sect, Dao Wu Ya, who was being challenged, slowly stood up as well. He stared at Ching Su in the center of the platform as his eyes shone with cold light. You want to challenge me? Brother Wu Ya, please. Tsing Hui gestured with his hand. This action clearly expressed his attitude. Good, very good. Let me see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeves. How dare you challenge the authority of the 3 purities sect? Saying that, Dao Wu was about to fly up. An unending realm grand elder beside him hurriedly reminded him, Wu Ya, be careful. Since Dong Yang dares to challenge you first, there must be a reason. Don't be like Nan Tian-do, who failed miserably and lost the throne of the fortune pageant for nothing. Dao Wuya paused, and his expression became more serious. Elder, don't worry. When I go down, I'll use the 3 pristine sec supreme technique, 1 chi into 3 pristines. Once I use it, I'll split into 3. All 3 of them will be my clones, and all 3 of them will be my main body. No matter how powerful his strange sword technique is, it can only kill one of my clones. It won't be able to do anything to me. Good, as long as you know what you're doing. The never-ending realm Grand Elder was merely reminding Boundless Dao out of caution. Seeing that Boundless Dao was getting serious, he did not say anything else. According to his understanding of Boundless Dao, once Boundless Dao became serious, among all the young geniuses on Fortune Mainland, other than Nantian Do and Sacrificial Flame Lu, no one could be considered his opponent. Xiao, Dao Wuya's figure leaped, and he landed on the platform. Without giving Xing Hui any time to initiate the battle, he said to Du Sun, "Let's begin." Good. Be careful. The battle officially begins. Du Sun's figure had already flown away from the battle. He knew that the entire platform would be turned into a blazing purgatory. On the platform, Dao Wuya didn't relax in the slightest when facing Xing Hui, who had defeated Nantian Do with a single sword technique. The moment Du Sun announced the start of the battle, he had already used the 3 pristine sec supreme technique. 1 chi into 3 pristines. As soon as he used the 1 chi into 3 pristines, 2 figures appeared on either side of him. As soon as the 2 figures appeared, they flew towards the left and right at the fastest speed possible. They were going to form a joint attack formation, but they were also going to increase the distance between them so that they wouldn't be caught by Xing Hui's Sword of the Glorious Sun. Unfortunately, this time, what awaited him wasn't the Sword of the Glorious Sun, but the eternal blazing sun, which was only slightly weaker than the Sword of the Glorious Sun. On the mountain where the 3 pristine sect was located, the unending realm Grand Elder saw that Dao Wuya had successfully used the 1 chi into 3 pristines and heaved a sigh of relief. Very good. Wuya is finally being careful this time. I believe that when he concentrates on his enemies, the only one who can truly pose a threat to him among the younger generation is, before he could finish speaking, a blinding light lit up the entire platform. Countless people had no choice but to close their eyes because of this blinding light. Boom! In the next moment, a deafening roar turned into a shockwave that seemed to be able to overturn the entire grand assembly of fortunes. It exploded from the center of the platform, just like when Xing Hui had used the Sword of the Glorious Sun. This is impossible. What's going on? He can still use the second sword technique? Didn't they say that this secret technique would exhaust all his energy in one strike? And I can feel that he has only recovered 30% of his true chi in a day. How can he still use this sword technique? The instant this resplendent and terrifying light spread out, all the elders cried out in shock, unable to believe what they had just seen. The unending realm Grand Elder of the 3 pristine sect felt his heart tighten. However, he quickly remembered that Dao Wuya had already used the 1 chi into 3 pristines and heaved a sigh of relief. Thank goodness Wuya has already used the 1 chi into 3 pristines. Once this secret technique is completed, unless we can kill both his original body and his 2 incarnations, Wuya can borrow the power of his incarnations to take the damage for him. No matter how powerful Dong Yang's sword technique is, it can only attack one person at a time. It can't do anything to Wuya. Before the unending realm Grand Elder could finish his breath, he heard the trembling voice of a transcendent realm Grand Elder beside him. Elder Ling Bao, this is an area of effect attack. This attack is an area of effect attack. Area of effect attack. It's actually an area of effect attack. Wait a minute, it's fine. Although this round of explosion is extremely tyrannical, because it's an area of effect explosion, its destructive power is not even half of yesterday's attack. He can withstand it. Boundless should be able to withstand it. Boundless' eyes widened as he stared at the explosion on the platform that had turned everything within a radius of 1,000 meters into a purgatory. How is this possible? It's an area of effect attack. Wait a minute, it's fine. Boom, boom, boom. Before Grand Elderling Bao could finish his words, a second explosion sounded from the platform. The second eternal blazing sun exploded. Grand Elderling Bao's relieved expression instantly froze in the direction of the Great Sun Divine Palace. Even though Xiang Xingji already had a certain understanding of the power of the eternal blazing sun after reading the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, witnessing the explosion of two divine-grade eternal blazing suns with his own eyes still caused his breathing to stagnate. Eternal blazing sun. Eternal blazing sun. This is the power of a divine-grade eternal blazing sun. One eternal blazing sun is enough to severely injure a true energy realm expert. With two eternal blazing suns, even a true energy realm expert would face death. After a while, Xiang Xingji took in a deep breath. However, following that, a faint rumbling sound came from the platform and the cry of the Golden Crow, which caused his expression to change. Not dead. Dowie was actually not dead. Furthermore, there was a strong resistance. Xing Hui, who had only recovered 30% of his strength, had to use the Golden Crow body to barely suppress it. While he was shocked by Dao Wuya's methods, his reaction was extremely fast. He immediately ordered the Grand Elders and Transformative Elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace beside him. Quickly act. Control this explosive force. Dusan also understood something and acted immediately. A majestic force pressed down on the burning torrent on the platform. Don't let this energy spread. Elders, please use the fire-calming divine pearl. This great fortune banquet is being held in our Great Sun Divine Palace. Our Great Sun Divine Palace cannot allow this blazing destructive power to harm the innocent. Elders, let's attack together. Xiao, Xiao, Xiao. Instantly, with Great Sun Divine Palace's Palace Master Xingji in the lead, several never-ending realm experts and close to 10 transformative realm experts leaped up at the same time, landing in all directions of the competition platform. All of them used their own divine abilities to forcefully suppress this terrifying destructive force within the range of the platform, preventing it from spreading out in all directions. As a result, the eternal blazing sun, which was originally an area of effect attack and whose power was rather scattered, exploded in the middle of the platform under the joint efforts of several never-ending realm experts and more than 10 transcendent realm experts. This caused the power of the attack to increase by several folds, completely turning the arena into a fiery domain. The area of effect attack also showed signs of condensing into a mass and turning into an individual attack. Cultivators who cultivated the Golden Crow's bloodline and were born from fire were better off in this area. Cultivators who didn't cultivate the Golden Crow's bloodline and didn't have a strong resistance to fire didn't need others to act. Just this destructive flame energy alone was enough to kill them. The Grand Elderling Bao of the Three Clarities sect didn't react to Xingji and the others' actions at the start. When he sensed that there were still battle ripples on the battle stage, he finally understood what was going on. He was instantly enraged. Great Sun Divine Palace, you dare. The other elders of the Three Pure sect were also startled. They all roared and flew up. Stop. Xingji, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to disrupt the order of the platform and the fairness of the fortune gathering? Obviously, they also understood. If the power of the two eternal blazing suns exploded just like that, the vast destructive energy would rush in all directions and then gradually dissipate into nothingness. However, Xingji, a few never-ending realm experts, and a dozen transformative realm experts all acted at the same time, forcefully suppressing this burning torrent that should have spread out on the platform. This was equivalent to creating an excellent battlefield for Xing Hui, who had awakened the Golden Crow physique. Originally, Dao Wuya who might have had a chance to fight again after resisting the two eternal blazing suns, was trapped in such a fiery purgatory. His last bit of strength would be exhausted, and he would be completely defeated by Tsing Hui, who had a certain amount of battle strength. And if Dao Wuya was defeated, who would benefit the most from it? Without a doubt, it would be none other than Xing Jihua. Chapter 325. Xingji, how dare your great Sun Divine Palace use such a method? Release the suppression. Supreme Elderling Bao roared as he tore apart the suppression formed by Xingji and the others, causing the energy from the explosion of the eternal sun to leak out through the gap. Xingji felt that Dao Wuya, who was still resisting in the center of the stage, was quickly fading away after Tsing Hui used the Golden Crow battle form. In just 1 or 2 breaths of time, he was almost extinguished. Xingji took the opportunity to release the suppression on the stage. Elderling Bao, what are you doing? That's right. Why are you attacking us? We still have to work together to suppress the blazing energy from the explosion. If the blazing energy from the explosion is allowed to sweep out, then all of us Saint Realm cultivators will naturally be able to resist it. But cultivators below the Saint Realm will probably fall into a situation of life and death. Could it be that you intend to put the passageways of the various sects in danger by tearing apart our joint suppression? That's right, that's right. Our great Sun Divine Palace, as the host of the Great Fortune Meeting, naturally can't allow any accidents to happen. With Elder Numinous Treasure's actions, how would the lives of the other passageways be affected? The voices of the Supreme Elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace rang out one after another. They all looked like they were trying to protect the situation and prevent the explosion from causing any accidents. Seeing this, Elder Ling Bao's face darkened. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Bao sensed boundless Dao's aura, which was so low that it was about to be extinguished. He suddenly attacked and tore apart the suppression of the Great Sun Divine Palace leader and a few great elders. He grabbed boundless Dao, who was severely injured and on the verge of death, and dragged him out of the battle platform. The Three Clear sect admits defeat. When the Great Sun Divine Palace saw Elder Ling Bao admit defeat, they naturally did not want to start a war with the Great Sun Divine Palace. They did not stop Ling Bao's actions. They only used a secret technique to draw the destructive energy from the explosion into the void, burning the void into a sea of fire. Before long, the sea of fire dissipated, and Tsing Hui appeared on the platform. His aura was weak, and he seemed to be at the end of his rope. However, compared to the dying Dao Wuya, he was still standing on the battle platform, even though he was extremely weak. He also seemed to have the power of the fire warding pearl, which allowed him to preserve enough strength in this terrifying explosion. Three Clear Sects Ling Bao looked at the star sacrifice and then looked at Tsing Hui. He thought of the Great Sun Divine Palace high-level attendant Du Xiu, who was with Tsing Hui not long ago and instantly understood something. However, they just stopped the explosion from spreading. Strictly speaking, they didn't interfere with this battle. Even if he wanted to nitpick, he couldn't say anything. In the end, he could only say angrily, "You all truly have good methods. Looks like Dao Wuya is no longer able to fight. Thank you for letting me win." Tsing Hui did not care about this never-ending realm expert's resentment. He cupped his hands and spoke in a clear voice. Good, good, good. You're Dongyang, right? I'll remember you." Ling Bao snorted coldly, and there was a trace of threat in his tone. He turned around and left. Tsing Hui chuckled softly. If it was any other prominent Divine Realm expert, they would probably not be able to eat or sleep well after being hated by a never-ending Realm Grand Elder of a supreme sect. However, Tsing Hui, soon, all the cultivators on the Fortune mainland would hate him to the core. Even those who had cultivated to the False Core realm were no exception. What was a mere Ling Bao to him? Too much debt was no burden. Elder Du San, please announce the result of this battle. All right, since the Three Clear sect has admitted defeat, I declare the winner of this battle to be... Wait a moment. Before Du San could open his mouth, Gauchen from the Purple Firmament Palace had already shouted. He stood up with a cold expression and said, "The Fortune Grand Assembly does not allow the use of power that is not one's own. What Dongyang used just now was not an immortal technique, but a one-time use artifact similar to the sky-shaking lightning. It cannot be counted as a result. In my opinion, those who do not abide by the rules of the Fortune Grand Assembly should be disqualified. Their cultivation should also be crippled and expelled from the Fortune Grand Assembly. Only then can the Fortune Grand Assembly maintain its fairness." Ling Bao, who was filled with resentment towards this battle, suddenly came to his senses when he heard Gaochen's words. He said loudly, "That's right. Nephew Gaochen is right. What Danyang used just now was neither an immortal technique nor a magical artifact. It was obvious that it was a one-time use artifact refined by Senior for him. If such a person can stand out in the Fortune Grand Assembly, then what's the point of competing in the future? Whoever has more resources can just send their artifact up. There's no need to go through so much trouble." Elder Ling Bao's words naturally received the support of many people. Qing Su was like a dark horse, consecutively defeating Nantian Do and Boundless Dao, two prodigies who had a chance of becoming the strongest, but the methods he used were basically nothing impressive. No one acknowledged his strength, so he was unable to convince the masses, so there were obviously many people who were jealous of him. Now that the Gaochen, numinous treasure, and so on had lured him out, who knew how many people were opposed to him? The situation fell into chaos. Using an external artifact, Xing Hui looked at Gaochen and the others who agreed with him with an indifferent expression and said, "The Great Sun Golden Crow technique that I cultivate was not only contributed to the Purple Firmament Palace, but also to the Great Sun Divine Palace. These two forces should know that the eternal blazing sun I used just now is a special artifact derived from the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. If I can't use the special artifact derived from my own abilities, then doesn't that mean that all of you here are not qualified to use the artifacts refined by your seniors? Or perhaps, in this Fortune Grand Banquet, no one is allowed to use weapons or artifacts. Let's just rely on our own abilities to determine who is better. What do you think?" Xing Hui's words stunned the cultivators who had been agreeing with him. Xing Ji of the Great Sun Divine Palace quickly said, "That's right. I can confirm what Elder Dongyang said. The technique he used just now was an attack derived from the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that he cultivated. It's equivalent to an ultimate secret technique that is derived after one's cultivation has reached a certain level. The Fortune Grand Banquet rules that other than basic items, such as weapons and flying swords, no one is allowed to use artifact from others to interfere with the fairness of the battle. However, the Eternal Blazing Sun is an attack technique that Elder Dong Yang cultivated himself. If you really want to pursue this matter, then, as Elder Dong Yang said, none of your artifacts can be used." Hearing Xing Hui and Xing Ji's words, the noisy crowd gradually quieted down. Gaochen of the Purple Firmament Palace also changed his expression and slowly sat down. Not allowed to use artifacts? If they couldn't use artifacts, all of their battle strength would be reduced by 30%. Originally, many of them could still compete for the top 3 rankings by relying on artifacts. However, if they gave up their artifacts, they would be completely eliminated. Therefore, he didn't dare to say that artifacts were not allowed to be used. Moreover, they did have some understanding of the so-called Eternal Blazing Sun in Xing Hui's hands. It was indeed a derivative of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. According to their calculations, even if Xing Hui refined the Eternal Blazing Sun, 2 would be the limit. It was absolutely impossible for him to refine a third. If they really did not use artifacts in exchange for Xing Hui's request to not use the Eternal Blazing Sun, they would be the ones to regret it. Very well. Since no one has any objections, then Elder Dong Yang wins this battle. Seeing that no one was speaking, Du Sun turned to Xing Hui and said, "Elder Dong Yang, do you choose to rest for a day or continue? I need to rest for a day." Before Du Sun could finish, Xing Hui had already spoken. "All right." Du Sun smiled and made an inviting gesture to Xing Hui. His attitude was very kind. Ling Huyu, who lost to Nantian Do earlier, jumped out. He had exchanged glances with Boundless Dao before, so there was a high chance that he was one of the experts secretly supported by the Three Clarities sect. Now that he was fighting with Sacrificial Fire Lu, it was just a pretense to determine the victor. His real goal was to weaken Sacrificial Fire Lu. Chapter 326. In the following day, the battles never stopped, especially Lu Jianhua, who was challenged by 3 people in a row. It was clear that these people had either reached an agreement in secret or had received some benefits. At the same time, they began to weaken Lu Li's sacrificial fire. Under such circumstances, even though Lu Jianhua had yet to experience any bitter battles, he had no choice but to rest for a day after defeating 2 people in a row. However, with today's victory and the previous victories, Lu Jianhua had accumulated 4 victories without a single defeat. Everyone could see that Lu Jianhua was getting closer and closer to the number 1 seat, and it was only a matter of time before he sat on that seat. That night, the various powers under the fortune pageant were in a commotion, and countless deals were made under the night sky. When a new day arrived, Boundless Dao and Nantian Do dragged their bodies that had yet to recover to their peak and challenged 2 cultivators. The 2 cultivators admitted defeat at the same time, and with their victory, Nantian Do and Boundless Dao gained a day's rest. On the other hand, Lu Jianhua immediately received a challenge from Gochun of the Purple Cloud Palace. Even though Gaochun was slightly weaker than Nantian Do, Lu Jihua, and Boundless Dao, he was still a prodigy that the Purple Cloud Palace had carefully nurtured. He was a saint at the true origin level. When he fought with his full strength, he was able to match up to Lu Jihua. Only when Lu Jihua used 4 suns hovering in the sky of 10 suns burning the heavens did he manage to defeat Gaochun. However, after this battle, Lu Jihua was greatly injured. As for Qing Su, he had also challenged the vice sect master of the Fire Phoenix sect, Yu Yin, long ago. The 2 of them had erupted in a prolonged great battle. This great battle allowed everyone to truly see Qing Su's battle prowess without the glorious Sun Sword. He was even stronger than the Vision Domain expert, especially when he was in his Golden Crow form. His battle prowess was tyrannical, enough to contend against true Energy Realm experts. However, the drawback of the Vision Domain expert's insufficient energy limited Qing Su's strength in the end. Although people paid attention to his strength, more people still placed their attention on Lu Jihua and Dao Wuya. As for Nantian Do, after losing 2 rounds, he had almost lost the number 1 seat in the fortune pageant. The battle continued. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days before they knew it, Lu Changhua had already accumulated 8 victories. On the other hand, everyone discovered to their surprise that the elder of the Burning Heavens sect, Dong Yang, who had always kept a low profile, had actually accumulated 6 victories before they knew it. He had even defeated the Holy Sun of the Netherworld sect with a single glory of sun before he recovered from his injuries. Give up the chance to comprehend the Fortune Jade, and the Purple Cloud Palace will give you another chance to become a member of the Purple Cloud Palace. Otherwise, do you think Dao Wuya and Nantian Do will be able to protect you in the future just because you ruined their hopes for the number 1 throne? Offending 2 great supreme sects, only death awaits you. Gochun stared at Xing Hui and said coldly, "Is it because your IQ is too low, or is it because you're so short-sighted that you can only see what's happening in front of you? Can't you see that I've already received the protection of the Great Sun Divine Palace? With the Great Sun Divine Palace behind me, what can the Taishur sect and the Sanqing sect do to me? Do you know why I abandoned the Purple Cloud Palace and chose the Great Sun Divine Palace? It's because I'm truly worried about the Purple Cloud Palace's ability to nurture disciples. I'm afraid that if I stay with you so-called geniuses of the Purple Cloud Palace for too long, my brain will also become stupid and arrogant. In the end, I won't even know if I offend someone I can't afford to offend and get killed by a sword." Sing Hui looked at Go-chan with pity, as if he was looking at a retard. Although his voice was soft, everyone present at the fortune pageant was an accomplished master of cultivation. Their hearing was extremely sharp. For a moment, their expressions became extremely strange. They looked at the elders and palace lords of the Purple Cloud Palace, wanting to laugh, but not daring to. On the other hand, the supreme elder of the Purple Cloud Palace, Xiang Hong, was furious. How dare you insult the Purple Cloud Palace? You're courting death. Seeing that Xiang Hong seemed to have the intention to make a move, the Starry Worship Palace Master, who had a smile on her face, hurriedly said, Grand Elder Xiang Hong, please don't be impatient. I think this is actually Elder Dong Yang's method of using words to confuse the North Star True Disciple. He wants to use words to make the North Star True Disciple lose control of his emotions and gain the upper hand in the following battle. This kind of tactic is allowed. When Sing Hui saw that Star Worship Palace Master stood up for him, he smiled and said, You're right, Star Worship Palace Master. My goal is to confuse his mind with words. However, for a piece of trash like him who only knows how to be arrogant in his own sect and get beaten up the moment he leaves, it doesn't matter if I use this kind of tactic or not. How dare you? Dongyang, how dare you? Do you really think that I can't do anything to you after joining the Great Sun Divine Palace? Gochin was furious. Ever since he was taken in as a disciple by Supreme Elder Xiang Hong and was carefully trained, who in the Purple Cloud Palace dared to disrespect him? Who dared to speak to him in such a manner? Gochin, why are you still talking nonsense? Just finish him off right away. Elder Du's son, why aren't you announcing the start of the battle? Xiang Hong's eyes were cold as he reprimanded Go-chun. He then turned to Du's son, who was gloating at the side. Du's son, who originally wanted to continue watching the show, had to restrain himself when he heard Xiang Hong's words. He asked seriously, Are the two of you ready? Why do we need to prepare to deal with someone who only knows how to bark behind closed doors? Sing Hui said calmly, I'm going to kill you. Dongyang, I'm going to kill you. Go-chin's eyes were bloodshot from anger. All right then, be careful, the two of you. Friendship comes first, competition comes second. Let's forgive and forget. All right, let's begin. Let's begin, Du-san said as he leaped up. As soon as he finished speaking, Gao-chen roared and unleashed the aura of a true energy stage powerhouse. He abandoned all his defenses and attacked with all his might. Die. Clang. Rank 9 Divine Sword, unsheathed. Sun Glory. In the next moment, a dazzling light exploded from the platform. Endless light and heat erupted and instantly engulfed everyone on the platform, including Go-chun. Huff! Elder Xiang Hong from the Purple Cloud Palace suddenly stood up when he saw the blinding light erupting from the center of the Colosseum. His eyes were filled with anger. This sword strike? This sword again? How is this possible? Didn't they say that this sword technique has a huge drawback? Didn't they say that his true energy would be completely depleted after this attack? He defeated the Yellow Spring Saint yesterday and only recovered 30% of his true energy. How can he perform this sword technique again? It's the same sword technique again. Go-chun is done for. He was provoked by Elder Dongyang and went all out without holding back. Now that he's hit by this violent and blazing sword technique, TSK, I wonder what will happen to him. I'm curious. How can Dongyang perform such a powerful sword technique again? Doesn't he only have 30% of his true energy left? Did he consume some top-notch medicine to recover his true energy? The dazzling light on the platform immediately attracted everyone's attention. Some were shocked, some were stunned, and some were confused. Some were even gloating over Go-chen's predicament. Finally, the dazzling light on the platform faded away, revealing Sing Hui, who had exhausted his true energy, and Go-chun, who was lying on the ground on the verge of death. The outcome was clear. If he was not worried that Xiang Hong, an Eternal Realm expert, would go crazy and attack him without regard for the rules, he would have killed Go-chen on the spot. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.